to be dueling over control of Arcadia, even though it's not a gold loot zone, so that they can grab those Thunder Coins, solve the Soul Jade, and get their hands on Volpoint Essence. But we're going to be following along with SR Spider, who's been able to get his hands on blue halberds. Bruce has done one better, though. That is a purple staff right off of the rip. Unfortunately for this limb, currently absolutely armorless, so we're going to be opening up a couple more troves before we feel comfortable getting to play off of the information picked up from ringing that bell. Lipo, XY, and AS all in the same area. Yuan charging up that skill rush, not going to be committing, just wanting to go for a little bit of ceiling hang to get some information on his surroundings, and not wanting to find himself in the middle of two other players. AS comes on through with the focus strike, and Lipo suddenly appears in the fight too with the skill rush from those fist blades. So it goes for the 1-2 light attack, puts himself onto the wall, is interrupted before he can go for the skill rush, has to burn out that F1 coming on through from the Temi, as here comes Spider looking to set in with the R&B off of those Hallies. The jump LMB from the fist blades is going to be able to lock onto the tumultuous location, but it's Spider with the faster follow-up who's going to be able to claim the elimination, and utilizing the F2 combo break of that Justina is going to be able to get a little bit of resources back before trying to kite out of this fight. He's 3% off the ultimate, though, and with these light attacks coming on through, as well as forcing that combo break, Spider feels the confidence to take this fight and continue it.
Now Spider with the blue knives and the uppercut combo. First combo of the Pro League that I've watched. And just see that he switches targets to Verse, going back and forth now to AS, back to Lipo, looking for the secured kill. Dashing back and forth, getting reset, and finishing off Lipo. Oh my goodness, we're flying back and forth, we're moving. And now Spider, after picking up the kill, is going to make his getaway like a bandit, while AS is going to try to heal up in that Sire ultimate, trying to get some value off of this. He does find Spider. Nice line of sight coming up from Spider. Able to go to the other side, but so many people have shown up. There's Arano on the Justina as well, but Spider with the drop down is going to find the focus attack and the secure kill onto JL's AS.
Yeah, Spider looking clean with the flying knives already getting to play off of the distance that they provide. If he finds a freeze target, he's going to be able to confirm into a focus hit follow through. Now we're going to be having a look at Bowder Shu going head to head against TW5, who's also running in with those flying knives. Shu out of the ultimate, needs to find an opportunity to go for an armor. Will be able to pick up a great armor reset from the Trove. Scale rushing out of the fight is potentially just trying to kite TW5 out a little bit further, since the shield still has the V1 primed and ready to go. And with the kite rotation, Shu has been able to make his way onto the cliffside to try and just run a little bit further away from the shield and probably and take a fight against some of the other players out across the open map who might be able to interrupt and keep the Shell's attention, as a Spider not having that ultimate but still very much wanting to stick around on the sidelines of the fights, has that purple pistol to be able to poach away some of those last hit situations, as well as those blue flying knives that we've been seeing so lethal. First is going to get grappled onto by Arano, goes for the back around, actually commits that focus hit onto his chaser before trying to keep just pushing his distance a little bit further away, breaking off, trying to get an armor powder off to be able to heal up that blue armor. And it's a good thing that TW5 and Shu aren't in the same area, because they just rolled up in that space that was just abandoned previously.
Yeah, off spawn, we were just talking about this. 3 kills to Spider. And first, though, Shenyuan versus 225. 225 finds the uppercut stagger, not able to secure it, though. And throwing up the R&B knives to the sky. Shenyuan with the Temiev. No longer is that Temiev to the sky safe from focus attacks. And Shenyuan is going to get a wisp off, and 225 is going in the loop, going in the dust. Goodbye, Shenyuan on his Temi, doing work off spawn.
Yeah, the re-wisps are absolutely brutal with that Temi V3, something that we've seen both XY and Asia use to deadly consequence inside the realm of Yang. That is 100% going to be utilized once again when we see those portals come on through. 2-5 is going to have the opportunity, we can see him just out on the left side of the minimap, to return to a Soul Altar and start trying to recover his gameplay, as OA's Edward has actually been the one to pick up that Volpoint Essence, which which I would assume means that he got the better of a fight against FPX's Star, given the fact that he's on one elimination. We saw both of them drop on Arcadia, and also the player in solos who's had the Volpine Essence the most frequently has been Star.
Yeah, with Mr. Edward back in the league at the North, they're always going to be battling out for this Jade. It's definitely one of the strongest items in the game. It gives you 1,000 health on a killing blow. So this first Realm of Yang, your opponent basically has to beat you at 1 HP twice, but Spider at 3 kills, just like Temmie, I've always seen Justina perform very, very well in solos. Just when you think she's kind of out of the meta, she always comes back just because she's such a beloved character of all of the solos players, and her kit just seems to do well in almost every single meta. And we're seeing the aggression of Spider. It looks like Star's gonna be able to get the ticket, but there are no more free Realm of Yangs. 2024 Koi Cup showed everyone we're not getting a Yang for free, and it's kept up this trend all the way into 2025. Now Spider able to get that ticket, trying to delay, and it seems like there's a pretty much standard now when you're at that Realm of Yang that at 30 seconds you're gonna pop all in order to get in. But Star, 1 HP situation, JL's AS shooting the pistol shots. Nice line of sight from Star though. Wait a minute. Oh, movement error right at the end. A little bit of castle trick, but we're moving back and forth. Bluff going away, Bluff coming back, trying to use his spikes to his advantage. He does get the armor reset, and now JLS has to burn through his white armor. Nice kiting around the pillar. Star giving a workshop on just how to kite at 1 HP. Rooftop to the wall, out of line of sight. Back through one more time on the rooftop. JL's AS has to be getting dizzy chasing this man around.
I mean, this is potentially dangerous too, because they are incredibly close to that Realm of Yang entrance that Spider took, and that's exactly, I'm sure, what Star is trying to take advantage of. But speaking about Realm of Yang, we've got Spider with the drop down LMB from those flying knives already forcing the combo breaker at Shu. One hit has to go for the ultimate, was almost caught out by the verticality on that pillar that we talked about previously, and Spider just trying to shred down that Cyrus shield, goes for the commitment of the LMB multiple times with the first stage rather than the second stage, just keeping up that pressure. He's still got his ultimate, he's still got the combo breaker, he's going to be able to stay directly on top of the Sarah to make sure the Shu doesn't get to break away and get a recovery moment. Out comes the Scalers, cutting off the escape. Back into the pocket we go. There's the ultimate with the knockback. He's looking for the freeze, he's able to find it into the LMB. That's the F1 next out from the Sarah. Spider unfortunately gets stun dazzled off of the F1, but he's still got the damage and the health bar to sustain and keep himself winning that fight as we head now to a duel against Edward and T225 as Edward gets locked down by one of the Shale ultimate charges.
225 is gonna opt to take the shield here and deny Edward's heal. Wait, no, never mind. Edward does have advanced heal. His armor is ticking up, almost getting a full reset here. A little bit, I think, of a misstep from 225, letting Edward back into this fight. Nice parry coming out from 225. He isn't gonna get the punish. Liam still with the best gold F combo break in the game. Fake's gonna be coming out, forcing out the combo break from 225. Edward had a little bit of pressure there, but 225 is taking back the momentum, putting him against the wall. Edward with the double charge release, and then 225 releases back. Edward gets the parry, sends him for the ride. Grapple kick. Is this gonna be enough off the focus attack? It is, and 225 is gonna fall. Always Edward and 225 having a back and forth in the Realm of Yang.
I mean, that would have been either an Edward win or a timeout for both of them, because remember, Edward had Vulpine Essence. So even if T225 had been able to get a quote-unquote lethal hit, Mortal Defiance from that Vulpine Essence would have procced alongside the knockback with that 1000 healing, and I think it would have gone to a timeout situation as right now. Asia is not in a great situation. This poor Temmie movement error gets stuck behind the wall as he tries to go for a jump LMB to scaffold over it. He does have Vermilion Bird Smite, but he does not want to lose the buff this early when he hasn't been able to use a kill, and he just lost the legendary dual blades. Ballista's in play. I'm sure that's probably GG shot on it, but Asia is not gonna be happy by that. He lost his buff, he lost his legendary weapon. I'm so surprised he committed that focus strike when he was that low.
Good googly mooglies, Moxie. It's going down right now in the center of the map. Spider, AS. I was super impressed by Spider's Yang fight. The level of speed, my man is already able to use the flying knives on top of Justina. Just the level of aggression that comes out from Spider now. There's literally no wasted movement. We're throwing focus attacks out like hotcakes. He's looking like vintage 225, but with the temperament of Spider, like the accuracy, the discipline to overhold the situation, putting on the pressure onto Verse, forcing out his ultimate. He is going to get around the corner. Spider's stuck a little bit on the stairs, but has him in his sight. He is paying attention to this opponent sitting on his back, doesn't want to overcommit in the situation. And this is what I was saying before, Moxie. Once these pros get up to that three kills, they already start pumping the brakes. But 5 kills, Spider is very, very happy in this situation. Doesn't need to overextend in this spot. Now, Arano, the other Justina in the lobby, wants to close this out onto Liam. This rooftop, though, providing so much kite ability. None of them are able to lock them down. And we're going to go to a replay of Azel versus Verse.
Yeah, this is how Aizen was able to win his Realm of Yang. Cannon comes out to deny the pillar reset option into the LMB tracking shot from those flying knives, forcing Verse to take cover behind that pillar and opening him up to even more cannon follow through. Out comes the Liam ultimate. Aizen's going to be able to dodge the first attempt at a grab with the Temi F1. Verse looks for the skirmish to close up the distance. Aizen still got the ultimate. Verse just played himself directly into the center of the Realm of Yang, which means he's directly at the center of the Temi ultimate. In Asia from inside, just swaps to the cannon and then commits the first stage LMB to be able to find the win.
Wow, so efficient from Azel to play the Temi wall to get his ultimate with high value. Speaking of ultimates, though, we got Valdez Chuz on Edward. No free Realm of Yangs. Already going to be popping that Syra ultimate. Now in a tough position, though. Fong's going to be coming in. Third-party situation, but Edward is going to grab the Pokeball. Look for the wake-up situation. Tap dodge roll is going to come out from Chuz. He is going to get caught on his 4th dodge. Nowhere left to go. Now Fong, a little bit upset. He took our kill. We wanted that third party. Not able to get it. We are going to try to steal a ticket. No, we cannot. Edward already has the ticket and the loot, and Fong is going to be chased away, and we're going to go into this second Realm of Yang. Can Edward keep up the dominance on his Liam?
Well, Edward has 11 seconds to be able to kite it out before he goes into that portal. One of the reasons why Shu showed up in that desperate play, by the way, was he had Yang depletion, so he needed to find a fight and figure out a way of getting one of those soul blimps. Otherwise, he was out of the lobby to a player or the debuff regardless. Edward now is going to put himself into that Yang portal, which we saw his pass picked up for. And remember, Bladepoint Essence is still in the pocket. He still has that to be able to proc as Arano comes on through with the Justina freeze off of that V1. XY throws out the LMB, or rather the RMB from those Hong Swords, getting a little bit of space, forcing the Justina to have to back on off. Will be able to pick up the broken purple armor on the ground and start to get a little bit of a heal-off situation, as now we can see Spider is the one who is matching up against Edward. Justina versus Liam, who's going to be able to find the value. Spider goes for the LMB as well as committing that gap closer focus strike, coming on through, starting to chip and chunk away some of this purple armor. He's got a little bit of damage. Look for the extension, won't be able to find it off of the combo breaker investment, and Spider with the RMB will actually commit into being able to chase onto Edward when he's stuck onside that pillar. Uppercut into V2 grab. Spider is going to get held for one heal situation, and Edward now has him up in the air to be able to catch him with the uppercut. Spider goes for the Justina freeze. He's so little HP, he isn't able to dodge the next grab, and this is Spider getting sent up against the wall, 6 feet under Realm of Yang. 1 for always Edward, and crucially Raven yet again. Ballpoint Essence still hasn't popped.
Edward showing his dominance on Liam, slowing down Spider. Remember, Spider's been steamrolling this lobby. A little bit of tilt from Spider committing to that uppercut. Now, Liam's can throw his ultimate catch at any point, putting their opponents in the ball. So you can really only get caught if you go into a very committed move, like an uppercut right there. And even though Spider was in a very desperate situation, he did have 2 more dashes, so he had the opportunity to possibly back off and go for a heal. So a little bit of a misstep. Now, Spider has been super aggressive, has been really slice and dicing everyone, so no big deals. Already up to 5 kills. That's already a huge start to the day. But with the big points is really if you're able to get first when you have these 5 points, because you're able to get that 1.2 multiplier plus the placement, and you're very looted up. Now, going to the Yang depletion situation, Spider does have a better chance right now. They did increase the timer for Yang depletion, so he can cherry pick and find a good spot right here as long as he plays his cards correctly.
Yeah, and he does have a legendary pulsar too, which is going to be perfect for a last hit scenario with the scale rush engagement. Edward forces out the combo break, and that's immediately going to turn everyone onto Lipo. This Lonnie is about to get absolutely lobbied. He's going to stop, potentially pick up the Valiant Challenger scroll just to get some information on the players around him, as well as some additional money once that quest has run its course. And now Spider has spotted the situation. He's going for the chase, and he's seen everyone is trying to kill this Lonnie. He doesn't need the elimination. He just needs the distance to be close enough to grab the Soul Bloom. But unfortunately for him, Yuan, the Temi, has turned onto the Justina because of how easy Temi is to be able to play up against the Justina ultimate. Out comes that V1, Spider forcing out the Stone from XY, not committing onto it until we go for one swing. Spider threatens the dash, isn't able to find it, and gets taken out by the horizontal swing. And he is not happy about that. That is a perfect game. 5 eliminations derailed. Kill score multiplier denied.
Genuine with the release champ with that pole sword. Oh my goodness. Spider trying to play a little bit fancy, and unfortunately Fancy just dies to focus attacks. Well timed. We do have Lipo on the way, and we're going to find that armor reset, but the whole lobby of stacked players, everyone juiced up with gold weapons, is going to be chasing him down. Now, Lonnie does have a lot of those movement options, can create some space. He's trying to max range this, but Star still has him in the crosshairs, still tracked him down, and when one person sees where you're going, everyone else is going to leapfrog and try to follow. Lipo in a really tough situation. Can he really backtrack for his armor? He's kind of caught out in the open. No ultimate to his name. What is going to be his last wishes here as he's going to be closing out? Genuine with the giant damage of the RB and that pulse sword. Lipo desperately scale rushing, trying to buy some time, looking for any option. There's no loot here left, and Star is going to be chopping down, finding the elimination onto Lipo.
Yeah, no loot, no potential armor swap, no Firefly to be able to pick up and instantly get your V2 to turn onto some of those other players, as well as get some sustain on the move. Unfortunately, the second that Lonnie got spotted out in Imperium, it was just a matter of time. Juanyuan looking for the scale rush. Arano there, we get to see the RMB jumping gambit coming on through with engraving on that longsword, and Arano is out of that. He knows that he's going to be the next vulnerable target. The assault small connection is going to be making it even juicier of a prospect for these players to start turning in onto this Justina. Force out that ultimate. There's the V1, 1-2-, all invested in quick succession just to carry Arano a little bit further away from the fight. He's been able to pick up a great armor reset. He finds the parry once again. Juanyuan released the stone form. This time though, this Justina is ready for it. That parry is through, but Arano is not out of the woods just yet. With his ultimate, he was able to kite on top of the Ballista Tower, so he now gets a base to be able to scale rush off of the back of, but he's down his ultimate, he's down his combo break, and 2 players are vying to get the last hit onto him, not with a scale rush, but a pistol shot puts him down, and XY yet again is able to take a Justina off the map.
Gold pole sword and pistol, one of the best multi-way fighting weapons. The parry, single hit, the single hit focus attacks that you're able to move around, and that scale rush that you brought up, Moxie, really gives you a ton of very safe options as long as your chase down is on lock. And we're seeing Fong using that Lonnie movement, getting to the top of the tower right now, able to find a reset, able to find a heal right now. Fong is up, doesn't have a kill yet to his name, but is in the top 4, playing out these placement situations, hoping to find a couple free kills down the line. Edward flexing that he still has the red jade, and you do not want to mess with him when it comes to this. But Shen Yuan does not care, and the Temis are here with the vengeance. Temi ult's gonna be coming out. Wait a second, Edward, he's just been absolutely murdered. They don't care about the jade. He's up to 1,000 health. That one Temi ult absolutely murdered him with the chain Fs. Oh my goodness, Edward made the wrong move, flexing out that jade. The Temis do not care, Moxie.
Especially because it's the V3, so only one Temi needs to invest the ultimate and the other can still hold theirs. But when the rest of these players turn in to contest that spirit, well, there's the next V3. Asia doesn't actually get caught out by one of those wisps, but they're turning onto FPX's star instead. Back comes Edward, having killed off the blistering edge. Just the cherry on top for FPX's star to get taken down in the throes of that Temi wisp. And now it is just going to be a matter of these Temis controlling that spirit while going to be able to pick potentially up another V3, unless Edward can come in with a late Liam V2. He's looking for it. Asia avoids the stagger by holding on to the focus strike form of the RMB from these throwing knives. There's the dome having popped. Asia might actually be able to sneak away a free Mystic Might buff with XY playing keep away against OA's Edward right now, and I think the Liam has realized, okay, these Temis are going to be able to pick up the spirit well. That V3 is going to be coming back into the mix, and even though one of them is going to be able to get that double ult cycle, they're both going to be able to play off of the back of it, and this Liam wants to make himself as scarce as possible. Unfortunately for him, they saw exactly where he ran to, and now with a hit onto DRG's Fong, trying to force the attention to turn onto this Lottie instead, he might have been able to do enough to sneak away a kill. No, Asia gets the last hit, and there goes the re-wisp. And Raven, I think we're about to see a Temi 1v1 for MVP.
I've always known, Moxie, that Temi and Temi probably one of the most broken matchups that you can possibly have in solos, because they counter each other, and if they ever find themselves on the same side, you just I just worry about how the lobby is going to react. That has to be the quickest wipeout I've seen out of all the characters in the league right now. Big Perry's gonna be coming out, and Shen Yuan is getting walked through from Azal. Temi ult is going to come out. He is going to find the wisp. Big stack is going to go down. He's going to chain as much as he can. He does run out of stamina, but perfectly timing the end of that stagger. He's going to come in with the blistering. Is it going to be enough? The burn damage is coming out, and Azal with the huge advantage, completely taken away. Blistering with the burn damage. This is going to reduce a lot of his healing right now. Azal's going to be coming back in with the nunchucks. Pop the F down, throw it through, and Shen Yuan, wait a minute, a little bit of tempo switch, switches over to the flying knives, and now Azal in the sky is no longer safe. You see Shen Yuan aiming those focus attacks into the air, but Shen Yuan does get the gold armor reset. We're into a phase 2 for the first solo games, Moxie.
Yeah, Assault Smolder attempted, but that legendary armor swap that he was able to pick up from claiming that Spirit Well is going to be able to keep him alive temporarily, but XY is able to find the whisk grab into that blistering edge, looked for the slap to deny that parry and light attack stagger, and that puts him into the wrong side of the uppercut. Now he looks for the drop down R&B, just trying to find that last little bit of hit. We've got the F1 back on cooldown. Can he utilize it to find a wisp connection onto Asia first? Yes, he absolutely can. It is a matter of speed between who connects first, the wisp or the bullet, and Temi's F1 is a little bit faster than that pistol chip, and he's going to be able to walk away the winner of that 1 versus 1, but is it enough? We'll have to see if those two are going to be able to match up, as Spider and Fong are instantly at each other's throats. Spider getting a couple of slaps in before he picks up that Hong sword and now puts pressure onto DRG's Fong, who does have the advantage in terms of overall sustain, having picked up the blue armor. Spaces out away from the RMB on those halberds, but doesn't find the opportunity to step in and look for the parry, as Spider now now has to worry about the third-party potential, because here comes the jump LMBs from WBG's Verse with that purple staff, and he is going to be able to find the pick. Ooh, Fong tried the drop-down parry. Verse does not read into it. Will be able to cancel out of the focus right before it connects into that parry coming on through from the Syra. And now with the armor reduced and the 1-2 into jump LMB. Jump LMB. Verse is going to be very quickly claiming a second.
Looking at the off spawns, Edward already at 1, 225 at 1. Following Spider, hoping for some action, but we are going to be getting action from JL's AS and Lipo Azel with the big flank. Gonna get that nice stagger 1-2, forcing out that gold combo break from AS. Nice armor reset from AS, creating some space. Wants to ice off the situation. Two of these guys getting a little bit too ooga booga for his liking. Doesn't want to be stuck in the middle of this, but Azel keeping up the pressure, already up to 56% on his ultimate. Overhold's gonna become a sends a double charge. Nice cancel from AS, but Azel does not bite, doesn't parry, stays disciplined, spaces out the actual feint from them, and we are still going to stabilize between this 1v1 of Lipo, AS, and Azel.
Yeah, it's not a stalemate though, with AS being able to connect onto the focus head, and that is all of the armor chipped away for this Lonnie. Ultimate could potentially come into play. Jump hard vertical actually slams down onto AS's heads, preventing him from keeping up that chase. And with opening the trophy, gets a blue armor reset, which is definitely going to embolden this Liam to keep himself focused in this fight, given both of the other two players are still on the gray. He's staying out on the sidelines with the nunchucks, could potentially be looking for an opportunity to come on for with the meter dumper. Here comes T225 rolling up to the mix, and we go from a 1 versus 2 to a 4 fight coming on down, as ASC's Zhuan Yuan is currently dueling out FPX's star for control of Salvation Podium. Looked for the connection of the uppercut fan to chip onto Star if he was trying to scale rush away. Forny Roller is also a potential hazard to help or prevent that fight going the way that you wanted, as poor Ashao is not having the game that he wanted. He's had to run away from AS. He's having to run away from T225. Out comes the Lonnie V2, but it is going to be in vain. And with the connection of the horizontal whole sword swing, T225 is actually forced into burning the Syra V1. It is going to be scaled. The stun dazzle, he is going to be able to find it on the Liam, gets the triple charge beam hit as well, and AS is now on the back foot, getting turned onto both by the Syra and by the Kylan. T225 with the beam is faster than the fan R&B release and will be able to grab the kill, but not the Soul Bloom. And now he has to try and distance himself from the fight. Goes back to back. R&B releases on the Hong Sword. Lipo lets blow through and now has to come on out with that Kylan V2. The chase down is there. The after effect dash is trying to find the Syra, who is an absolute sliver of health, as T225 puts himself onto the cliff, looks for the scale rush to distance himself away from the track down chase, and it has done enough to be able to keep him ahead of the V2 slashes and put himself onto the high ground to get a reset opportunity and coming back into the fight fresh.
Oh my goodness. 225 comes flying in with the grapple LMB into the focus attack. Again, no wasted movement. Man commits to all of his attacks quickly, and Lipo gets put down in a matter of seconds. Now Shen Yuan with the purple fan versus Star. Really good lowdown for him on the Xiao. A little bit of a Xiao on Xiao violence right now going into this middle stage. Serrano with the Ballista is going to put one in the back of Star, but then he's going to get a shot in the back from Shen Yuan on the top roads, forcing him off. Now Star resetting, getting back to full health. Got to be putting on the pressure on Shen Yuan again. No, he's finally going to let go of the other Xiao. They're going to turn their attention to the two players on the bottom, slowing things down. Remo Yang is going to be coming up. I'm curious to see how the Xiaos are going to be stacking up against Lonnie moving forward. Lonnie does have a lot of tools to burn through a ton of that shield and able to space it out and not get caught by that banked gold F of Xiao. but still, Flying Knives also able to poke around on the Shile at max range, able to keep that space, keep that distance. I'm curious to see. We haven't seen any of the players, though, have the Flying Knives like we did last time. We are going to get Star versus Fong. Remember, no free Yangs, Moxie. We fight for every single Yang ticket.
He's going to be holding on to that legendary staff picked up from Salvation Podium 2 just in case he gets parried and loses it prematurely. Asia gets put into the R&B scoop coming on through from that purple focus hit of the staff. Spider isn't able to find the timing against the Flying Knives coming on through and invests the combo break to be able to space away from it, as well as the V2 grab onto T25 into pistol swap shot coming on out goes for the drop down. He's just trying to buy himself a little bit of time with these scale rushes up into the sky. 14 seconds and he'll be able to put himself into that Realm of Yang portal and get back all of the rage on that V2. And I think both of these players understand that Liam should be able to find a safe passage. He's going to look to scale rush to close up the distance. That's the stun dazzle from the Syra. Spider still hasn't actually opted into taking this Realm of Yang portal. He's going to wait to let some of these other players who are potentially scaled a little bit higher stack themselves into that spacing first. Rano goes in blue armor, purple weapons. We're still waiting to see who exactly is he going to be joined by.
Azal is going to be sitting outside playing for Spirit. Well, instead, wait a minute, 225. Sneaky ends up fainting him, saying like, you know what, you can just have the Spirit. Well, whoever gets the loot first is going to be able to loot it up. Now, psych, we're in there. 225 with the betrayal, getting a nice uppercut combo onto Azal. Now Azal has to fight for his life right now. Even though Lonnie has so much tools, she is very vulnerable. He is going to find a light attack, look for the uppercut, not able to get a 225, able to pop that gold F, and now Azal in a very tough position. Before we go into the Realm of Yang, WZ Arano versus FPX's Star on the Shio. Nice LMB stagger, able to catch Arano on his dodge out, but Arano is gonna put him into the Lonnie ultimate. We're gonna get that nice ball loop. Star gonna be going into the montage, gonna get clipped up and shipped from Arano on the Lonnie.
Yeah, cheers now. It goes for the uppercut with those new Flying Knives. Verse down a lot of his HP. Actually commits the RMB. Cheers. Goes for the overhold. Verse punishes it with the commitment of the Scale Rush. Now that's the combo breaker burned out from the Liam. We've got the activation of the ultimate into the next gold frame. Focus to be able to dodge some of these dashes coming through from the Justina, and she was able to find the commitment, the connection onto that V2 Liam, and off of the back of that, with the distance spacing on the Flying Knives, will be able to commit the focus hit on drop and finds the win. Something to note, by the way, is that Spider had the opportunity of going into that third Realm of Yang and actually chose to kite to the Spirit well that everyone was vying over, the Lonnie and T25 coming on through. I'm not sure whether that's resulted in one of those players going down, but it has meant that there are only currently 2 players with a buff on the field and 2 players with Yang depletion on the field as well.
ASC's Genuine gonna be on the outside, sharing his location with FPXR. Both of them on the Shio over there at Tang, lurking around. Arano with the buff, though, wants to get some value off this, and every single time the camera seems to be on Lipo, he is always running away from some type of situation with multiple people chasing him. For now, we have Arano on the nunchucks chasing him down right now, but Lipo's doing a good job with that staff, maintaining the distance. Star and Shenyuan in the south looking around. 2 minutes and 32 seconds on Star. He has Yang depletion up. He needs to find a kill if he hopes to keep his game going. Now, looking at the overall scoreboard, we have Verse as well with the Yang depletion, but he's already up to 2 kills, and at the moment being chased down by Baudas Chuz with the gold fist blade. purple armor. Liam, 1, 2, 3, max range is going to clip Verse. He's going to get that wake up, get another bit of chip damage, forcing Verse to retreat into the building. And again, Lipo going to take a rogue focus attack from Chalice, but he isn't going to take the damage. Verse is going to be able to heal back up and jump back into the fray.
Yeah, but unfortunately he's not going to be able to dash cleanly away. That is the entire duration of his V1 force. He did not cancel it early to retain some of that rage charge. And everyone in this lobby saw that a Justina ended up in the kill feed, losing a Realm of Yang. And remember, there's only one Justina in the lobby. So it looks like he's going to try and kite up towards Achilles Crest and lose some of his pursuers with just the hassle that it takes being able to just kite around that particular spacing. There's so many different layers. The high ground provides a really good vantage point as well to see whether or not there's a fight currently going on through. And you can see that, yeah, he is amongst other players. He's trying to see whether or not he can look for a valuable target that's going to be a little bit more vulnerable, that he could potentially turn the lobby on towards him. But the person that he's currently chasing is Bowder's Chew. He's headed over to where that second realm of Yang is going to be spawning on up, understanding that there is going to be fighting for that particular spacing, but he's got a minute left. Everybody knows that a Justina is about to go out from Yang depletion if she doesn't find a kill soon, which means that it's going to be a last hit situation that all of these players are going to try in time. We get closer and closer to the phony roller. Star has to burn that Shaol V1 coming on through to buy himself the distance to put himself onto those walls and scale rush into the center of this spacing. Looks for the distance control as well with the R&B from that staff. We've still got charges to be able to bank out and send against our players. This Justina is running out of time. The tortoise block finds its target, and poor Verse is not finding the thing that he desperately needs. Star is going to lose the legendary staff, and immediately a runner will be able to slip by and pick it up. And no! Fong finds Star! Did Verse get the Soul Bloom? 26 seconds left. He's still got the debuff. What could have been an absolute miracle for this Justina is denied and griefed out by another player. And now it's just a matter of whether or not Verse is going to get last hit by one of these players, or if he's potentially going to go down to the phony roller and deny a kill coming on through. He swapped over to the halberds. He's trying to scare us out of the way, making sure with the blue armor swap, no one gets the last hit on him. Enough time has passed for him having taken damage, and it is Yang depletion that claims him. No elimination tallied, as there is a second realm of Yang, but Raven, no one's looking at it. Everyone is currently looking below Salvation Podium as the phony roller of death trundles on its merry way and stampedes over one of our players in the lobby.
Azel was able to get out of the situation and did manage to get Realm of Yang, and we are going to get a matchup from that first game. Shen Yuan versus Azel. This time, Shen Yuan on the fan, going to go drop down, looking for the focus attack flank, not able to land it. Azel too good with it, too good and smooth with that pillar. He is going to get caught out, though, by the blind side focus attack from Shen Yuan, and now scale rushing away. Shen Yuan, again, playing a little bit of cat and mouse right now, slowing down the fight, not just forcing the issue right now. Azel now threatening scale rush, going to make his way to the top, go out into the open, make his way to the other scale rush again. Fishing for a situation, but Shen Yuan is going to be able to get the scale rush into a 1-2, following it up, getting massive chip damage on Azel. Now in a tough situation, no armor to his name. Shen Yuan's cranking up the pressure, keeping up the light attacks onto Azel, forcing out the ult finally, but Shen Yuan's back at full health right now. First shield's going to be proccing. That threat of the gold F coming out of nowhere, but Azel's going to take to the sky, and Shen Yuan flies up there, able to get the first one out, getting some nice value on it, but Shen Yuan, or Azel, doing a great job of kiting within mid-air, staying very, very airborne, and Shen Yuan finding it very, very difficult to lock him down. 30 seconds left. Focus attacks not landing. Azel making his moves, going around, able to get a nice focus attack, stripping out some of that armor, but the slap is going to come out, looking for the light attacks, able to get a little bit more chip damage. Now Azel forced to a last hit situation. Shen Yuan desperately wanting to hold him down. Azel looking for a possible timeout right now, moving left to right. He finally commits to a focus attack, but Shen Yuan is there again, able to catch it, but 5 seconds left. Azel is going to do the unthinkable. He's going to kite it out and waste Genuine's time, and both of them are gonna fall.
Oh, if XI had a cannon. Oh, if XI had a cannon. Musket shells, great for precision hot swaps, not so great if your opponent is just literally perma-scour griefing off of those pillars. He was not able to. He was literally a sliver of health, a whiff of a bullet connection. Even off of a grey musket would have been able to do enough damage to take him down. But no, two players get Yang depletion, and we get to see, I believe Baudo wins his realm of Yanks. This is Chu winning up against T225, swaps over to that musket, chips away some of that purple spaces out of the focus, commits the L&B, turning that purple focus, trying to find the stagger, will be able to find the parry, forces out the combo break. Now we can keep up the pressure onto the Syra. 1, 2, 3! We commit the free! And T225 is not able to read into the parry, nor have the combo break to space away without the lack of punishment. And now he's on that Yang depletion situation. He's been able to find Asia, though, who's only got blue armor to his name. No combo break available either. So the Syra just gets to commit RMBs back to back into the jump LMB. All of that damage, all of that armor has been pushed away. Combo break comes on out from both of these players. Asia was looking to try and look for that TOD when the Syra was up in the sky animation, but T225 is able to cancel out of it by going for the activation of the V1. And now we go into a battle of kite and sustain. Asia with that trick ball is going to be able to connect onto the Syra. T225 actually out of ultimate, while the V2 for the Lottie is still in play. This could be devastating for the Syra, but now that the V2 has been removed, just before he could look for the TOD, the drop down into the RMB, but Asia finds the parry to be able to set it up. We go into the grapple kick extension, but the terrain from the grief means that Asia drops the follow-up damage, and T225 is given another opportunity. Swaps to the flying knives, goes for the tempo change-up. Fan versus flying knives with the spacing that he's been able to create off of the threat from those flying knife attacks. He's been able to find the pistol swaps, but unfortunately he commits the focus strike. Asia denied the last hit until just now. Will be able to find it from that Hongsword commitment, and he's able to pick up the Soul Bloom, cleanse the Yang depletion, and also absorb all of the loot that T225 was holding.
Class of 225 there, just back to back to back focus attacks. Azal spacing out the situation, very, very disciplined, and closes it out with the clutch parry. Really, really cool stuff there. Really seeing the utilization of the Lonnie spacing out against the old school, super impressive Syra. When Syra was dropped before her ultimate, just did so much. No one knew how to deal with it. Now Lonnie, with her ball and her dash, is able to space out that situation and get tons of value to burn through the cooldowns of Syra. That gold F, giving that heal, giving that stagger situation, plus a lot of verticality. And the name of the game now, Flying Knives, is here, and all of the characters with that combo break that sends them to the sky, Faria, Syra, Temi, a lot of those situations aren't as safe as they used to be because Flying Knives can aim up. Now, you can use Flying Knives in the way that 225 did, just kind of holding the RMB, moving around left and right, just looking for that focus attack. But definitely underutilizing its capabilities, and Azal really picks that very straightforward playstyle in the clutch. Parrying in the clutch, definitely not one of the easier things to do, but Azal does not flinch, reads the situation perfectly, and closes out 225, spacing out with those knives.
This time around, we don't have two Temis, so the Spirit Well is going to be much more hotly contested for the White Tiger's prowess buff that it is going to contain. Edward is currently getting focused outside of the dome. He is going to go. Shu has already been able to pick himself up legendary armor as well, so he's going to be a very valuable target for everyone to try and turn on to. There's that Kylan V1 coming on out from always. Edward X actually committed that Shaol, taking advantage of the amount of players that are here, which is going to allow him to bank up one of those charges coming on through from that V1 and he's chasing away Edward down. He wants to try and absorb the loot that this Kylan is currently holding. He knows that the V1 is about to burn on through, and with his ultimate still in play, he can punish a lack of Kylan God, but he's not the only player who's thought about that. The tortoise block actually catches 2 players, one stacked directly behind him, but unfortunately XY is still not able to find the kill. Asia denies him from it, and now everyone is instead turning on to Lipo. XY could potentially be on the chopping block too. He's down his ultimate. He's got 50% of his armor and 50% of his health, and now with that parry as well, everyone is going to be turning onto this Kylan to try and force out the ultimate. The V2 comes on out from Lipo. XY commits the combo breaker, but he's in the zone. He's eating the corruption tick damage, and Asia, eyes in the back of his head, perfectly times the turnaround range shot to be able to claim that kill.
Now Lipo on the Kylan, again in a situation with multiple players chasing him down, as the camera always seems to be on him when he has to live these situations. Now, nice movement from him. He's going to cut noise, try to avoid any attention to him. No healing and sound means everyone's going to lose sight of him. He is going to be able to switch sides right now. Everyone is going back and forth, but unfortunately for him, no! The Moonbane is going to take him down. It looked for a second. He was able to get the reset, but no. Moonbane has another thing for you waiting. Just unfortunate. The 80% Moonbane taking all of the center of the map, being the saving grace for him to get that space, but it was taken away with a blink of an eye, Moxie.
Yeah, I mean, Moonbane is a hide-and-seek champion 2025. Oh, he is running. Every single time you think you've slipped away at this point in the game, Moonbane always has something to say. As Sheer is definitely going to be having a whole lot of flying knives to commit to. He's got a legendary set of them and a purple pistol to be able to punish once you try and distance yourself away from the hit coming on through. And he's also got the White Tiger's prowess buff on his side as well. So 2 cycles of the Liam V2, but with the Moonbane having snuffed out, we are going to head into a little bit of a lull. These players trying to just keep themselves out of the Liam's focus fire until the White Tiger's prowess buff has been removed. Everyone has spotted out DRG's Fong as well. You can see him just running off on the right side of this map. He is on Syra, so he does not want everyone to figure out that there is a Syra still in this lobby and try and force out this V1, because you want to talk about players that are really frustrating to fight multi-way. Syra is absolutely one of them, especially if you allow her to hold on to that ultimate as the zone itself closes on through. Asia puts himself underneath the awning. He's also going to try and keep himself out of a fight until we go to that heal-off situation with that Lani V2. JL's AS going to be showcasing one of the soldiers that he has, Tuna, on his side to be able to keep himself ticking health and armor up when he's on the move. As 5 players left, all is up for grabs. No one wants to over-aggress and extend a foot wrong in fear of everybody turning into the fight that will be kickstarted and losing the potential kill score multiplier with so many of these players having access to heal-off situation wins.
Yeah, this was actually the most stacked endgame of the day. We started off going into this endgame with 8 players, 3 falling to that spirit wall, but still 5. Definitely one of the more stacked endgames. Almost half the lobby still alive. DRG's Fong with the tried and true, the dagger. The OG dagger player of the league going back to his comfort zone, staying out of line of sight, trying to avoid a lot of this chip damage from Arano. A little bit of poke damage with that cannon in the end game, but Fong finding a nice angle right here, able to avoid it. Now, unfortunately for Fong, Arano does have that Rupture Gale, so every single time he's going to get hit, that AoE burn damage is going to put a ton of pressure on him, but it doesn't look like anyone is going to try to force the issue, try to get someone to all in versus before this endgame situation is. But I spoke a little bit too soon. Now AS and Arano are both looking down at Fong, who's just desperately trying to use his melee attacks to iframe to slash some of these cannon shots from actually hitting them. Bauda's Chuz on the top. We're seeing the verticality of some of those knives, Mox. That's what I wanted to see. Not that impactful, you know, just a little bit of an R&B, a little bit hype, you know, not super technical, but maybe. There's a little bit of legends right here. Look at Chuz throwing the knives out. He does have gold knives. Cannon shots are being thrown out. He is able to pressure Fong on the high ground with these knives, but you can see Bauda's Chuz body is feeling a little bit uncomfortable with so many people sitting behind him that he's not going to keep up the pressure. And like you were saying before, Moxie, it looks like everyone is very, very content to play out this heal-off situation and just to see how they can get a little bit more kills. You know, as the Shadow comes in, the Shadow can be an ally or can be the enemy doing damage to you, but you can push your opponents into it as we close out this game 3 on Holoroth in a heal-off situation.
Yeah, the Leon's definitely not going to be in the best situation as both the Cyrus and the Lonnies have sustainability from connection of their ultimates, but no one really wants to get on top of DRG's Fong for fear of that stun dazzle CC turning the rest of everyone around them against them. Zone is going to close on through. Players take to the sky. No one wants to be on the low ground because that's where the Cyrus stun dazzle and Lonnie trick balls are going to be concentrated. In fact, one player I think just goes all the way out to the right side trying to win heal-off situation without getting focused down. Urano on top of absolutely everybody. We really are going to go down to the absolute wire. There goes DRG's Pong's ultimate, but he's now outside of it. Assault Smolder connects onto Shu. That zone damage starts ticking away the health bar rather than the shielding. Aleem is able to come on through with a V2 connection, and Aleem and Asira will be left standing. No one is going to be able to confirm the kill score multiplier, and it's instead going to go down to overall kills picked up as well as ranking points, and for that Asia will be able to claim another MVP in his breakout MVPL season.
This is definitely one of the end games, so possibly going to look at more the character spread of going into that Eventide Temple. We are going to get Fong, Edward, and Spider going at it. Spider with the Greatsword off spawn. Not the best, probably the worst weapon right now in Solo's Greatsword. Fong down in a 1 HP situation. It's going to get uppercutted in the background. Spider going to make his way in. Edward keeping up the pressure onto Fong, and now Spider sensing blood in the water. He's going to go for Fong, but Fong able to get that white armor at the last second, securing his position, but Edward is going to keep lurking him down, walking him down, spotting out any weakness. Fong going to pop the heal, and Edward just going to make Edward come in, find the first light attack, able to get a double crouching LMB, shredding Fong's health pool, now falling down, looking for the parry, back to back, switching to the nunchucks for that single hit, and Edward is gonna cleanly wipe out Fong with now Spider chasing him down.
Yeah, Spider did that last hit, wasn't able to find it off of the bow snipe attempt. Does have to be careful. That shield is going to be very close to ultimate, but so too is Spider close to that Lonnie V2. Edward back-to-back scale rushing just a little bit faster with the charges because of the fan in that pocket rather than the dual blades, and Spider actually unfortunately mistimes the next scale rush and goes for the horizontal jump instead. The F1 is forced out from the shield. Back to the cliffside we go. Spider trying to stay on top as much as he possibly can. Closes up the distance, knows he has the advantage, waits for the horizontal to come on through before dropping down onto Edward and managing to find the kill. He wanted to keep up the pressure. The second that the Shahul burned that F1 combo breaker in front of him, he knew he could continue pressing the advantage. Even if the situation went south, he had his combo breaker to be able to escape. As we now head into a 1 versus 1, verse down his combo breaker, but that stun dazzle is going to detonate and buy the Syra back all of that blue armor health. And T5 now is trying to put himself onto the rooftops, create some distance so he can look for an armor powder situation. goes for the focus hit. Verse not able to find the drop down jump parry. Will be able to start chipping down some more of this additional health, but there's the combo break activation coming on through into that Liam V2, and Verse now is gonna be on the back foot, 3% away from the Syra ultimate. The hit into the CR Syra F1 is gonna buy the spacing for that V1 to be built safely up. A great armor reset comes on through from T25. He can't actually confirm any follow-up damage off of the catch of that Liam V2 because of the third-party invasion coming out from FBX's star. And Verse with the space now feels the comfort and confidence to go for that Syra ultimate and turn it onto T25 instead.
Verse in the ultimate, gonna be able to heal up a little bit. Syra, not as strong as she used to be, but still a force to be reckoned with. FBX Star and 225 going to be surrounding Verse in this situation. Gold F is going to be popped out for Verse. Both Star and 225 kind of spacing out Verse. The bleeding out white armor. He is going to be able to get that heal off, and Star waiting for the right moment to look for that focus attack flank. He dips his toes in and he ends up backing out like, ooh, a little bit too soon. But Verse trying to make his way from there against the corner. Nice crouch cancel going to come out from Verse. Doesn't want to get parried. Instead, he's going to send a parry into 225, but 225 on the Liam, able to gold combo breakout, taking no damage from it, and Star going to keep up the pressure, but Verse does find another armor swap. This fight going on forever. Nice job by Verse, able to find his armor friends around the map. Now, Verse keeping up the pressure, looks for the scale rush, chips a little bit of 225, scale rushing through, but 225 not going to be flinching here, not going to commit right here until he gets around the corner. Big damage coming out from that purple Hong Sword, and back-to-back focus attacks is going to take down Verse quickly.
Get forward to the 1-2-3. It's okay. We got parried. We've got our Liam F1 into the grapple extension, into the RMV commitment. Can't get parried if you're mid-stun in that uppercut grapple kick. And T25 will be able to find the eliminations back-to-back. What a wonderful usage of the side of that building corner to be able to obscure the connection and charge up of that RMV coming on out from the focus hit of the Hong Sword. He does go a little bit eager to try and finish off the fight with the 1-2-3 mix-up, but like we talked about, right? Liam, the gambit on the focus hits with the combo breaker is allowing you to be able to go for plays like that. So we're going to have a look at a replay coming on through. There's Zhuan Yuan going up against JL's AS. Zhuan Yuan with the read, the parry off of the blue focus scale rush, will be able to open up this fight nicely into the drop-down katana mix-up now that you can have either the focus strike hit or that light attack. And there's the Justina dash, is able to find the first, is looking potentially for that second, the overhold from the fan into the parry on the run back, and XY now might potentially, yeah, there it is, freeze into 1-2 horizontal crouch cross, and we're going to be able to pick up the elimination. XY looking clean as he's already barreling towards another ultimate, getting ready to set up for that Realm of Yang, which was directly at the base of Ballista. Is someone currently on top of it, or have the players been able to rotate fast enough to not get caught out?
And nice job from Genuine there, and Justina's always part of like the 1v1 zero branders, the people who love dueling with all of your abilities. Justina has one of the best kits in the games to neutralize a ton of pressure, and Genuine perfectly makes her way around the Liam ultimate, but Lipo is actually giving a run for Spider's money right now, keeping up the pressure. Nice, finding the stagger again. Spider's going to take to the sky and is able to stall this out. No free yangs, but like I was saying before, Moxie, 30 seconds. Everyone, around 20 to 30 seconds, everyone is down to pop their ultimates just to guarantee that they get into this Realm of Yang. And you're seeing Spider perfectly use the ball to stall out in midair to guarantee his way in. To get this fight, just being able to go into Yang, especially at the right time, allows you to really scale up and cherry pick your opponents. Now, first Realm of Yang has 3 different Realm of Yangs, so depending whether or not you go in right away, second, or third, will vary on which players are actually fighting against. Now, generally, the first pick is the Chads of the lobby, the people who do not care who they fight. They're just clicking in as fast as they can. And then generally, the third pick is also another monster who is trying to ISO out one of the more desperate players who have blue armor, who's just trying to mash and get in there and take a gamble and go for a fight. We are going to get JL's AS versus Spider. We haven't seen a lot of AS. He's back in the league from the off season. What can you show us that you've prepared for us this year, AS?
Spider looks for the overhaul before going for the early commitment, trying to mix up and finds the parry opportunity. Liam F already going to be forced. As Spider does lose a lot of that purple armor, so much so that he actually backs off of the fight onto the pillar to be able to find the skill rush into the 1-2. Doesn't commit the third. Goes for the ultimate. AS not able to dodge out of the trick ball. And there it is, the stagger into constant harassment from that spear. Spider spacing the night, make sure that he doesn't get caught out by that V2. Will be able to find the jump horizontal into the skill rush to keep up the distance and make sure that AS doesn't find the opportunity to behind the pillar get a heal off. And Spider with a very clean and fast win of his Realm of Yang will be one of the first to pick up that buff. As always, Edward is also going to be able to claim that Realm of Yang win. As on the outside, all of those players who didn't get into one of those portals and are in a mid-recovery state of that game are going to be drawn towards that spirit well, but they're going to have to be careful with how fast those Realm of Yang wins were won. If they stick around this space a little bit too long, Raven, they're in very much danger of the players with buffs rolling up to the scene.
Yeah, ferocious play from Spider, Moxie. Just like you were saying, just super, super fast time to kill. He doesn't even use the last little bit of ball. He just chooses to go out and use his spear. Just a nice, clean, jumping LMB, well spaced, and closes out. And we saw earlier 225 with the betrayal at the Spirit Well onto Azal. Now going back to the Realm of Yang, we are going to see flying knives of Edwards going to catch out Balda's Chuz as he comes out of the F. Now Chuz going to create some space, dash out right now, looking for the blind side light attack, but Edward is going to roll around and immediately throw the focus attack in that tough situation. Nice shot from Edward to use his Shio ult to iframe one of those dashes, and with the cannon, another very, very clean fight. We see Edward make quick work of Chuz.
Yeah, Spider and Edward actually now going head-to-head outside of the cave entrance. Both of these players having buff. We don't typically tend to see them exhausting that buff duration against each other. Shell has utilized the combo break, but so too has the Lani. AS is going to try and play interruption. Spider, so low in health, is going to throw out that trick ball all the way up to the sky to be able to teleport over to it and give himself a disengagement option, banking on that third-party opportunity, turning onto the Shell instead as he charges on up. The Dragon Slayer is not to turn onto a player, but again to keep up the distance between himself and the other. Edward is still holding on to that Shayol ultimate. Spider finds the parry, doesn't find the means of being able to commit the damage though, because there are so many players here on the side of Jade Pond, and Spider is still low, still the target for everyone to turn onto. If he does go down, it's not going to be the worst for him. He does still have a million bird smite for another 50 seconds or so, but he doesn't want to lose that buff if he can help it, especially if he can potentially find a kill off of the situation that is currently occurring. But no, Lipa with the fan is going to be able to take him down. AS was able to grab the Soul Bloom, so that is his Yang depletion cleansed. Some of these other players, though, still in that state of desperation. As we look at Celestra, a lot of the players amongst the mix having that Yang depletion, no one wanting to make their first move, but unfortunately for Shu, that V1 on the Justina has just ran out. He does cancel it to retain 60% rage charge, and he has found a situation he could potentially third party, and with the drop down fan R&B attempt, he's looking to try and remain in this lobby and find a player to drop and keep this Yang depletion cleansed.
Light attack going to be coming out from Shenron. He is going to find the kill inside the zone onto Arano. That's going to be coming out. He freezes Fong and Chuz as he makes his way back to the zone. He needs to get a heal off. And it looks like Chuz is going to switch targets right now. Sees that Fong is in a tough situation. He's not able to get the stagger off. And now for his trouble, Fong's like, okay, we're switching targets to me right now. You're about to eat one of these gold Fs. Gets a little bit of damage onto Chuz. Tries to fade away, but Chuz finally sends the R&B focus attack and closes it out. And able to pick up the kill with Shen Yuan on the outside, picking up the loot. And looking at the leaderboards, we got Shen Yuan with 2, First with 1, Lipo with 2, finally getting his game going. Edward fighting Lipo at the spear realm. No free Yangs anymore. Lipo needs to pop some heals off, although he is on the Syro with a couple seconds left. He can pop the ultimate and guarantee his way in. Really hard to burst a Syro as she's waiting for that realm of Yang. We are going to get Spider in realm of Yang. Now, I was talking about this with Moxie off stream. I was hoping to see some Spider versus Azal to see how he really matches versus for what we've seen the top fighters. Now, when you think of the top 3 fighters in the league, it's always been Mike, Spider, 225. But I gotta say, after seeing a lot of what Azal is bringing to the league, and even like up-and-comers versus Shen Yuan, Wufang, and Pace, I would be very curious in just like a raw, no macro and everything, just raw fighting, dueling tournament of all the pros of where everyone kind of stacks up. We are going to get Spider versus Lipo. Unlucky, but Lipo has a lot of momentum, and we are going to be able to see a Syra old school meta character versus a new meta character, Lonnie.
Yeah, both of these characters being able to sustain themselves in their ultimates while on the move. Spider getting to utilize the verticality of the LMB from these flying knives, getting to keep up the pressure as Lipo was on top of that pillar. Looks for the skirmish, actually goes for the F2 rather than the skirmish commitment. Now he's been able to go for the mix-up blindside. Phantom Step also comes into play on those dodges that we get to see into the mix, and Spider is able to find the parry, forcing out that combo breaker behind the pillar. He goes so he doesn't get stun dazzled, and now the Syra is just gonna put up into the air. Doesn't have the combo break, isn't able to utilize the ultimate under attack. Lipo dies with V1 100% charged.
A little bit of a facepalm moment. You see Lipo kind of facepalm his head, knowing that he could have popped ultimate, knowing he was just a little bit greedy, but it was a Spider. You're seeing such airtight play coming out of him, even with the new knives weapon. It feels like out of today, at least, we've seen the best knife play really coming out of Spider. Finding those light attacks, finding those staggers, and I would say Spider has moved to a very focus attack gameplay. He's able to utilize the threat and pressure, keeping his opponents honest with those focus attacks of knives. We are going to get a 1v1v1 situation at the tower between Edward, Chuz, and I believe Shen Yuan. But these platforms, one of the best kiting, infinite kiting positions on the map, just because of those 3 layers of platforms. You can kind of circle around the tower over and over, but each time going to a different level to find a heal safely from even 2 chasing opponents.
Yeah, I believe this is the replay of Asia versus TW5, given for the TW5 has Yang depletion. No spoilers on who wins that one. Already forces out the combo breaker from both of these players, but Asia, ooh, there's engraving. The jump LMB is into the mix-up jump RMB, will be able to start chunking down this Liam's armor. Goes for the dash, will be able to find the freeze, utilizes the second dash to dodge out of the Liam, attempting to grab with that V2, gets another dodge into a full freeze to be able to dodge out of that V2 second catch. And Asia, the Justina, just looking absolutely pristine.
Yeah, really good punishes there from Asia, just really giving no option to 225. That's one of the downsides of the V2 of Liam. all of it is very, very slow. That throw for the ball to capture opponent is very, very easy to react to. And you're seeing the gold frames deny any of those captures. And when Justina pops that ultimate, she does have 3 dashes. And Aso perfectly uses all 3 to basically completely neutralize Liam's kit. Now 225 is going to get opened up with a parry from Spider. Spider with a ton of light into cross is going to get slowed down by the focus attacks of 225. The momentum was in Spider's favor. He's going to have to pop ultimate now onto 225. The blue armor, even with the gold armor right now, but the stagger from the ball is going to put 225 in a tough situation. Unfortunately for him, that tough situation is going to get uppercutted from Spider. He is going to slow him down, pop a heal off, get an uppercut onto Spider, and immediately Spider releases, giving back some of 225's own medicine into them. But Spider with the drop down parry, big time parry from Spider. He's going to close out 225, but a valiant effort from these 2 rivals.
Oh, Lipo, yet again, cameras on him, and he's running from a multiplayer situation, forced into burning the combo breaker. This time we do manage to hit our ultimate and try and find the pressure to turn it on to another player in the area. Out comes the stun dazzle spam, just looking to get a kill off. He knows the second this ultimate is done, everyone is going to be after him. He's going to try and utilize the side of that building to scale rush. Has that fan, will be able to chain those together as he heads into Shipwreck, going deeper and deeper, trying to utilize the corruption tick damage, going all the way wide of zone to deter players from following up onto him. He can't go too far away though, because we can see on the left side he's got Yang depletion. Unfortunately for him, the player who is the closest, who spotted what is up, is Aizen, who is more than happy to wait for this Syra to have to pop out from that zone and just hit that last little bit of chip needed on the health bar to find the elimination. Lipo might actually go down to the corruption tick damage. Oh, that is so unfortunate. Silver lining for him, at least, he didn't give an elimination away to some of the other players on that leaderboard, so they're not going to be able to add to their score point off of the back of that kill. And with the Moonbane coming and a chunk of it cutting directly through the spirit well, early posturing to get the hands on Mystic Might is going to be very risky indeed, as you can see everybody dancing around, not wanting to get hit by that AoE and paint themselves a target for the rest of the players to look at.
Very risky indeed, Moxie. Now looking over at the leaderboard, Spider having a massive game here on the game 3, up to 4 kills on the Lonnie. No surprises here. Getting the first pick, doing super well on it. Edward keeping up the momentum himself at 2 kills on the Shio. We are going to get the Spirit Wall where everyone wants a piece of this. Spider's going to make his way to the middle already, circling around, looking at everyone, even pulling out his bow, shooting Chuz as he enters, and now Justina taking the center of this. Shenyun finding the 1-2, and ooh, spoke a little bit too soon, doesn't want to be in the middle there. Spider immediately comes back and starts cooking with the focus attacks, and now Shenyun in a tough situation on the outside. Edward is gonna jump onto him, but nice shot from Shenyun, gonna kite back through the spirit well and line of sight, and it looks like Edward isn't gonna see where he ended up going.
I mean, remember, there are 2 other Justinas, so costume change very much in full effect. The next time we see him, he's probably going to have swapped to a different weapon, as we're going to be keeping a very close eye on Spider indeed, because he just got his hands on Mystic Might, and he is not going to allow Aizen to get a full reset off. Hector does come on through from that longsword, which is going to give a little bit of health back, but he is not going to get out of the way of every single player looking at him. He doesn't have the ultimate, unfortunately for him, and Spider has the trick ball directly aimed at the Justina, but it's not enough. Edward with the musket shot will be able to steal the elimination away, and Spider's not going to be happy by that one. He committed his ultimate to be able to pick up that elimination.
Yeah, Edward picking up the scraps, getting all that loot ready for this end game. And unlike the previous one, we did see 8 people going in this end game, this time 7. And now we're going to get 6 who are going to keep going forward. I don't imagine, like last time, where we're going to go to just a pure heal off with 5 players. I feel like there's a lot more aggression in this lobby now. With an even 6, each player can kind of find a buddy system, a homie, as Taki likes to call it, to try to close out this game. Now, Spider, AS, going to be searching for a genuine. Now, Spider does have the blue buff. He's not going to be slowing down. I've never seen Spider slow down when he has momentum. It's all gas coming out from Spider, looking for the focus attack on these dual halberds, trying to chase down Chuz, but Chuz doing a good job icing off the pressure of Spider. And immediately, Edward thought we were going after Chuz. No, don't turn your back on me. Gonna have his Shio ult forced out, and now Spider is looking to eliminate Edward, and Edward is going to take to the races to try to get away from him.
Yeah, that is one stagger coming on through, and Spider will be able to avoid. We've got another stagger, so Spider is going to be holding on to that F to be able to escape out of the tortoise block. Chael gets another hit, still holds on to that last charge. Is Edward going to be able to find a player to be able to find a connection? No, Spider dodges out of it yet again, and Edward now knows he is entirely on the back foot. He's got to just try and kite around, but Spider with the bow will be able to take him down. No Shayo left, no one going to be able to play third party Havoc Maker with those tortoise block counters coming from absolute nowhere, and Spider now turns on to Shu. Instead, he's going to try and put enough pressure onto these Destinas to force out that ultimate, but he doesn't want to overcommit, especially since that zone is going to be moving away from that legendary armor reset swap that Spider has gift wrapped to him still on the ground. He does actually pick up the fresh armor, so there is a potential swap there coming on through for some of these other players as he tracks down where WBG's versus. Now he's found an even bigger threat than the Justina to allow to come through in a heal-off situation. He needs to put enough pressure onto the Syra to force out that ultimate before he can feel safe enough to back off from the fight.
Spider keeping on the pressure, has the gold armor, but doesn't have the buff anymore, has to be careful. The blue buff really allows you to identify where everyone is so you don't get flanked in the situation. Spider's navigating this perfectly, but Verse unfortunately hasn't been navigating this endgame very well. Is going to get taken down to the point where he's forced to pop the Cyber ult, using the heals, not using it offensively. Everyone's going to be backing off. They don't want to take the full aggro from the bedazzling of BWG's Verse. No one wants to get lobbied after that stagger. Verse up to 1 kill. He's going to make his way into the house, line of sight from all the range. It looks like Spider with the stanchion menacingly waiting outside the door, just like, you going to come out Verse? And Spider, a little bit with a bluff, doesn't want to overcommit in the situation. And we saw the same thing before on Holoroth. The last 5 players not wanting to overcommit to their situation, willing to play off the heal off. But I would say in this position, though, Spider definitely has the most amount of incentive to slow down. The only one in striking distance to passing him and taking the MVP is Shenyuan. He needs to find 4 of these kills to close this out. And now we're getting Verse just absolutely barrage. Remember, and Spider's going to join the party.
Oven. This building has become an oven, and Flame Breath and all of the cannon shots are just absolutely frying. This poor Syra is having to commit back-to-back RMB hits off the focus from the staff just to try and live some of that range pressure coming on through. But it is by the cannon that he is undone. Verse goes out of the lobby. Spider claims the resources left behind on the body with the stanchion. That silence proc just being enough of a threat to chase the others away from the body and the resources within. Xuanyuan saw the stanchion, instantly goes for the F2 combo breaker on that Justina. Now he's got to go for his ultimate. Back into the house he goes, but just like it was a little bit too tight a space for Verse to be able to keep himself safe from all the cannon fire from. It's a little bit too hot for the Justina's blood, and out into the open space, Xuanyuan is going to kite, cancelling that ultimate early to try and hold Ravik. He holds on to it. He goes for a dash, attempting to turn it on to Spider. He uses the next 2 to be able to put himself up into the sky, hoping to lose track of everyone around him before dropping into that building and trying to proc Tuna, but unfortunately not enough time is able to pass for that rest of mode. Xuanyuan is absolutely being relentlessly hounded by Spider, who's going to be able to claim another elimination, and we go down to 3 players left, and Spider very much still in the driving seat.
Spider at 6 kills right now with JL's AS and Chuz sitting on the high ground. A little bit of rocks, a little bit of stairs to work with. Now Chuz trying to go in. Spider looks for the parry. His combo break is going to be popped out. He is going to pop his ultimate though, sending the ball to the center right now. Stalling out, able to knock both players into the zone and bouncing the ball one more time. Going to stay in the zone for as long as possible, taking no chip. He is going to fly out and teleport to his ball, send it back in, trying to get the last, but AS with the Rupture Gale is able to find a kill, gets a ton of hits on to Spider, and he almost clutches it out, but it's not going to matter. Spider is going to get that last hit and the first place and one more kill. Massive, massive game going to Spider.
Oh, it's close. It's so close, especially when he gets grabbed by that Liam V2 and just sent absolutely spiraling away from the fight, because if a kill had come through at that point, he was so far away from the body, he would not have been...
Stellar performance of him in another masterclass for Endgame.
Well, what we're not going to see is Arcadia, because it is grayed out, so no one was able to land there. Instead, it's going to be Spider and DRG's Fong going head-to-head. Spider already getting both a spear and a pistol to be able to play in the pocket and at a distance. They're going to interact with the tree, which is going to give continuous heal tick coming on through to combat that zone damage as Spider looks for the parry. Doesn't manage to find it, goes for the overhold before cancelling out into the 1-tier light attack, jump horizontal uppercut extension. Will be able to get so much damage off of Fong because of this. Fong does manage to throw out the LMB to be able to buy himself a little bit of spacing to escape out of those stairs, but Spider is still going to be able to win out the fight overall, as we're going to head back and look now at 08 Edward, who is currently in a very precarious position, caught no armor, 50% health and below, directly in the middle of Bowder and Alliance.
Chuz on the Liam has an opportunity here with the purple musket to steal this kill, but he has to be worried as also on the Liam with a weapon swap pole sword. But we are going to go over to Shenyuan versus Arano. Arano with his armor stripped right now. Shenyuan going to grapple in, trying to find the opening, but noticing Arano with the armor pickup is going to be put in a tough situation. Jumping LB going to put Shenyuan into a wake-up situation, but he's able to scale rush. I saw the pressure. He's looking for an armor reset. Does find over back to an even fight, but Arano immediately takes advantage with that fist dash in, gets a sneaky little focus attack in. Now Shenyuan prepping with the focus scale rush, going to be forcing out Arano with that gold F, and now Arano going to pick up the blue armor. Cheeky little play right here. Shenyuan doesn't want to give up this blue armor for free here. Able to close the distance, get that jumping LMB up, a little bit of chip damage, and now Arano making his way off to the side, but surprise attack comes out. Focus attack on the corner is going to put Shenyuan in a tough position right now, and Arano wants to take this fight, has momentum right now. Shenyuan makes his way back into the room, goes for a scale rush up, not able to get it. He is going to pop his ultimate. Gold F going to come out from Arano. He isn't going to panic and pop ultimate in response. He's going to hold on to it until Shenyuan gets close. He is going to pop it this time, but the V1 is going to combo up Arano. He's going to make his way outside to the rooftop, getting away from Shenyuan, throwing out the balls though. Shenyuan looking for an opening right now, but the iced off pressure is going to slow things down. Arano comes back in, gets the bedazzles, looks for the stagger. A little bit of ult left for Shenyuan. The V1's going to come out, but wait a second. This dodge across and a double charge is going to put Shenyuan out of his misery, blowing him up with that 2-charge RMB.
Well, Spider's going to be feeling pretty miserable right now. We'll be able to dodge out of the first Liam V2 attempted. The grapple kick extension dodges out of the follow-up with the combo breaker, but now he's Alani with no combo breaker. And Ajo absolutely saw that investment. Goes for the clank to be able to prevent the focus strike from connecting. Manages to outlive the entire duration of the Liam ultimate, and Spider kites towards the other side of that pillar to get a heal off as Ajo steps up to keep up the pressure onto Shu, who is going to go down to the RMB coming on through, sweeping him before he can hit the ground. Spider gets a blue armor reset off of the trophy he's on and instantly is equipped to be able to continue this fight against Ajao. But here comes the Syra rolling on up to the scene. Arano on the outskirts with that pistol is starting to chip down all of that armor that Spider was able to pick back up, and unfortunately for him, he is going to get caught out before he can skill rush out of there and look for the disengagement. DRG's Fong with the pistol will be able to claim the elimination, but Aja was able to come on through with the Soulblum pickup to build into this V2. Fong invests that Justina F2, puts himself onto the wall to be able to disengage away from a potential grab attempt coming on through from that Liam, as now Aja wants to try and take down DRG's Fong, chasing him a little bit further away, but not going for the full commitment because he knows that Arano on the Syra is on his back. Syra investing that combo breaker. Aja gets stunned, but Arano isn't actually in the area to take advantage of the CC, and Aja, still on grey armor, is going to go back, pick up the broken blue that he knew was still on the ground, and heal that up as opposed to looking for the elimination. As no surprises, FBX's star is out in the zone, rolled all the way up to Arcadia, and entirely uncontested was able to pick up the 7 Thunder Coins and get full point essence.
Yeah, Max Corruption here, he is going to space this out perfectly. Looks like Star has done his homework to make sure that you can grab all the coins in a quick fashion and get out very, very safely. Edward, usually contesting Star for that Vampire Essence, is going to be already setting up on the Justina, waiting for this Realm of Yang with the knives. Are we going to see that same success that we saw Spider with his Justina knives? Now, we saw Wang Lang day one of the premiere of the league really pop off inside of Realm of Yang, showing what he's been working on for the off season, but he's been a little bit iced off. Now, he's always been one of the most dominant players in the pro scene, and it was very strange not seeing one of the old guards at the J-Cup. But now, with the rename, with the rebrand from Wang Liang to Edward, he's definitely shown a different side of him. And same thing with Spider, really reinventing himself. Speaking of which, Shen Yuan and Azal are going to be fighting off for this Realm of Yang. Remember, no free Realm of Yangs. Shen Yuan in a tough situation because of the Kylan ult, down to 1 HP with Azal pressuring him.
Yeah, but Zhuan Yuan did have the Yang pass, so he will be able to go with that V1, and the Kylan got the 4 seconds of immortality, giving him the opportunity to drop down, go into that portal, and then immediately getting the full heal as well as the replenishment of the 100% raise charge to take the fight versus Arano on this Sarah, getting to grapple as well and chip down a lot of that purple armor with just light hits coming in through from that spear. But Arano with the jump LMBs on the fist blades, returning the favor, and Zhuan Yuan losing pretty much all of that blue. Combo breaker from Syra is invested. Stun Dazzle will be able to connect onto Zhuan Yuan, but Arano is forced to build the ultimate and pop it now, given the amount of damage that the spear was able to do when he was stuck on that pillar. Arano gets the Stun Dazzle into the 1-2-3. He cancelled his ultimate early to commit with the fist plates, understanding that Zhuan Yuan did not have the opportunity to recover.
225 versus Verse. Max range LMB focus attack with the knives is going to get parried out from Verse. Tricky 225 goes to the sky. We saw this a little bit earlier when the Shio versus Lani. 225 with a ton of options, able to kite out this very oppressive ultimate, able to get that advance heal off, take back to the sky, not proccing any of this Shio ult, using his range to go past that shield, getting a little bit of chip in before he comes down to fight after the ultimate is down. Nice kiting again from pillar to pillar, finally throwing out the ball, getting the teleport off, doesn't get the last hit off, and we are back to full health situation. But 225, nice 1.5 charge, gonna get that one through. But Verse is gonna come around the corner, get that stagger into the uppercut. Now 225 on the pillar. Verticality of the flying knives is gonna knock him down. Big parry's gonna be coming out, big damage right now. Tap dodge and the follow-up focus attack. We haven't seen it all day, but Verse is gonna throw it out there and clean up 225.
I mean, we talked about it at the beginning of the day, how instrumental those pillars are in the realm of Yang, especially in solos. We do see it in trios, but definitely in solos. Pillar play is one of the metas inside realm of Yang. So having a weapon that has verticality tracking to interfere with those pillars is definitely going to be mixing things up, and that's exactly what Verse was able to take full advantage of. 2-5. Versus on up is actually almost had to take a fight against the player that bested him inside the realm of Yang. As Arano, missing all of his armor, does have a legendary Hong Sword, is going to try and close up the distance. Asia on only blue armor, but no Yang depletion. Is not going to be forced into taking this fight if he doesn't want it. Stun Dazzle forced out from the Siren, wanted to go for either a drop down or the jump horizontal into the ultimate, and Asia gets stunned up. He is not able to utilize his combo breaker to frame out of the CC. This time around, he will be able to utilize the activation of his ultimate to frame out of the stagger from the triple charge Siren V1. But that means that Arano is just free to keep on beaming, and Aja goes out of the lobby early.
Arano, Syra, you can't sleep on Arano. Throughout last year, he was always within the top 5, almost sealing so many tournaments away from Spider. It came down to the last point over and over. Even though he's not known as that a dueler, he is still a very, very strong fighter, and he picks his spots effectively. Now AS is going to get a juggle onto Shenyuan. Nice scale rush in, trying to cover the wake over here. Shenyuan tries to create some space, but AS denying the space, denying the scale rush with a nice well-timed uppercut. JL's AS is also going to pick up a nice kill. Arano up to 3 kills, Star up to 2 kills, and now AS up to 2 kills, as well as Verse.
Yeah, 2-5 is not the only player on Yang depletion. Lipo is also going to be, as we head and look at Imperium, the scene where so many of these players have been drawn to, like moths to a flame. Realm of Yang is going to be up, as well as the cluster of players inviting a potential opportunity to grab a Soul Bloom and cleanse that Yang depletion debuff. Lipo has not been able to find an opportunity, though. He's trying to keep the fight going, putting a little bit of pressure on the players around, trying to keep the engagement because of the health loss being so low, forcing out that investment. Unfortunately for him, a lot of them are going to have that buff. Good news for him, though, is that a couple of patches ago, they changed it where the players with a million birds might do not drop their loot the way that the buff has always worked, but they do drop a Soul Bloom. And off of that player who had the buff, Lipo will be able to pick up that bloom and cleanse the Yang depletion without having to invest his ultimate and turn the entire lobby up against him. And we can have a look and see how exactly he found himself in that predicament. Ooh, we get a nice little uppercut into grapple kick. And unfortunately for him, though, he isn't able to find the full extension chain. It's not a TOD. He gets parried, has to burn the F1, picks the knives back up, burns all of his stamina trying to dodge away from the chase down coming on through, has absolutely nothing left on the bot to dodge out of the V2 catch from that Liam grab, and gets sent into the air, into the montage from FPX's Star.
Yeah, Star with the weapon swap, just covering everything. You see Lipo desperately trying to dodge out of the situation. Nothing you can do with that weapon swap covering. Once you commit to that role, you are for sure cooked versus dual blades and dual halbies. The amount of range and coverage they can do, definitely really a decent opener. He gets a nice bunch of clogs, able to get those uppercuts onto Star, but the inevitable ends up happening. The second Star gets momentum, Lipo's defense just cannot stand up against the weapon swapping of Star. Unfortunately for him, he does fall in that realm of Yang. Look like he's able to, I believe, cleanse by the end of that. 9 people left alive. Spirit Wall is going to be coming out of the situation. Edward looking for the kill onto Star. A little bit of overcommitment from Star, and Edward smells blood in the water, looking for the stagger onto him. But Edward, with that fan, is going to be moving out here, and we are going to go back to the realm of Yang of SR Spider versus Bauda Chuz.
But an absolute chat move. Blue armor, blue weapon. Man still takes a realm of Yang. He is going to get hit and lose a lot of that blue armor in the air before swapping over to the musket to try and even things up. Scale rushing in, closing the distance, wanting to try and take this melee 1 versus 1, dagger versus flying knives. Watch going to be able to find more value. Spider continues to keep applying the pressures of the flying knives. Do not get the opportunity to take advantage of a downtime distance in this fight. Spider with the L&B around the pillar gets interrupted by the gap closer coming through from the flying knives. And this time she actually commits into aggressive. Spider now goes for the V2, looks to try and send out that trick ball, will be able to get a little bit of spacing bot and heal off of the back of it, dodges out of the Liam grab attempt coming on through with another trick ball catch, and we go back to the scale rush coming on through. Spider this time isn't able to dip away before the V2 comes out, up into the air he goes, but he manages to evade the follow-up stagger with the gold frame of his own trick ball catch and throw, and Spider now on the pillar. No! Gets sent back again into the grab. Ultimate's out of play. Spider against the pillar and invisible has absolutely zero distance to back off and kite away from the flowing knives. Connection chase down, and he is blue armor and blue weapon sent back to the Soul Altar to begin again in the lobby.
Nice job from the Chuz, throwing 4 follow-up blues after that initial focus. Like my man, which is out there release champing into Spider. Spider not ready for it, and that's where like Fancy kind of just dies to very, very simple, well-timed focus attacks that are tricky, end up slowing it down. All the fancy dodges and light attack chip game. Now Star, down to half health, has multiple purple armors chasing him. He does have a fan and a ton of building to work off of here. Nice kiting path going out from the top, grabbing onto walls, making his way back to the window, cutting out to the side, but Verse keeping on top of him. Wait a second here. New little path right here. I see you, Star, making up some new areas. The tough part of kiting in this building is all the pillar situations there. You don't really get that instant scale rush that you want. You get like that tree upward animation. So knowing these little spots to keep that scale rush going, especially when you have fan or dagger, that's ideally where you want to be. Unfortunately for him, and fortunately for Lipo, he's finally able to pick up one of these kills, and he gets on the board instead of the one being chased in these situations. 1 kill for his Justina. Fong is going to get choked out from AS. Everyone's going to be piling in right now. So much damage going down. Blue armor swap, though, is going to keep us going. But Fong is going to make his way to the top of the roof and over. But Verse, he's been doing all the heavy lifting of chasing everyone down, sticking onto him, not letting him bend it away. And Fong has his work cut out for him. He does get that blue armor reset and turns it around on to Fong.
That's not good news for JLAS though. That Cheryl invested ultimate and has Yang depletion. Spider does also have Yang depletion, but he's still holding on to that V2. And there's still a fight going on because everyone knows that AS is down those resources. Spider closes up the distance, but oh no, the White Tiger's Paras, the knockback, I think actually meant that Spider wasn't close enough to the body to pick up the Soul Bloom. And that was the most vulnerable target in the lobby that everyone was going to turn on to. Removed. Spider now has to play that he's not in that desperate position where he's the learning that lost that realm of Yang fight and has that depletion, because that would mean that every single player around him would just kite the timer out until we went down to the sub 10 seconds mark and would then look for the last hit connection. And now Spider just has to try and hope for the next 2.5 minutes that he plays in a way that isn't immediately going to be recognized as this is a last hit potential situation. Urano is going to roll up to the body, just trying to pick some of those resources. He spotted Spider. He's seen that Spider was blue armor. Spider actually picked up the broken purple armor off of the body, but hasn't been able to find the opportunity to drop an armor powder and heal it back up, and has to go for the gray. The 1-2s are coming through from the fist blade. So does the combo breaker into that ultimate. Spider has absolutely no other thing that he can do except desperately make a play and hope that other players in the area inside this building turn onto the Syra instead of him with the force of that ultimate. He's still got 2 minutes. He can afford to space out of this fight, look for a disengagement, and try to make a play if Urano gets contested. But unfortunately for him, he's still the target that everyone is looking to focus down. No one else is fighting each other, and with a minute and a half left and Spider burned out of his ultimate, I don't know if he's going to be able to make a recovery from this one, Raven.
Always winnable. Moxie's going to make his way back to this armor. You know, we got 4 armor pots. That means we can heal this armor twice. We're chilling. We're still looking for a kill right now. Minute and 13. It's not dire. You know, 10 seconds. It's looking cooked, but we got a minute to make something happen. And unfortunately, Lipo does get grappled, but Spider feels like this is not a good target to go. He's shopping around, but how long can he really shop for? Only a minute left now. It's pretty unlikely to be able to close out someone, but time to kill. Spider is known for killing players very, very fast. He is going to make his way to the Liam of Chuz. E2's going to be invested. He's going to scale rush out to the top, but Spider guesses his landing. He is going to get captured, take a little bit of chip damage here, but Urano comes flying in with the light attacks, and Chuz just gets stabbed in the back with the LMB focus attack. Spider is not able to get the soul wound either. He gets all of his armor switched up, and again, he has to do the heavy lifting coming through. Urano with the backstep of flying knife. Spider is going to hit his ultimate one more time, and it looks like Lipo is going to be kiting out the situation, being able to kite to the left, but Spider realizes it's unlikely and ends up raising the white flag, not wanting to give any kills, but everyone searching over, trying to get that last hit to pick off the free kill from Spider, retreating into zone.
Oh my goodness, disaster. I wonder if we're going to get a POV camera from Shu, just having to deal with the fact that Thalani just straight up drop kicks onto him, and everyone in the lobby immediately turned onto Liam, who knew that he was down that combo breaker to pick up that legendary pulse slot and keep the blistering edge in play. Lipo, unfortunately, having to invest that Shayol V1, looking to try and break the ankles and disappear amongst all of the different walls that hedge the outskirts of Imperium. Fong went right over the top, might not have heard the armor powder. That, or he's content to just wait for the zone to push Lipo more out into the open space. Fist blades, we've got the Scarish out. We're chaining them together back to back, trying to put as much distance between ourselves and the rest of the players in this lobby as possible. There is another Shayol, so if he can try and break that distance and just drop away, hope that they turn onto Verse, thinking that that's the Shayol without the ultimate instead, or he can hope to be able to space out between the Moonbane AoE that's currently cutting all of the players left in this lobby, as Edward, with the swap over to the range, actually pressures his opponent into walking into that AoE and taking the additional hits of damage. Edward more than happy to go Moonbane surfing, breaking out the boogie board because we have the Mystic Might and the damage reduction that comes alongside it, as well as the information gathering intel of where all of these players are, even if there's a wall between himself and them.
Verse doing a really, really good job of kiting around with this dagger. 5 people left alive. Kind of the standard we've seen throughout the day, Moxie. 5 people getting to this end game. Spirit Well situation where Edward does have the blue buff, trying to move it out. But the Moonbane, the ultimate third party, the paid actor is going to take down Verse. Big hit's going to come in. The Shadow ult's not going to matter as Edward gets that chip damage in. Now Fong with a little bit of high five as Edward makes on his way with the backup gold armor. But at the top right now, Urano at 5 kills, Lipo at 1, Edward at 2, Fong at 1. Will Lipo try to weather out the storm of these Justinos with Urano, or is it going to be Urano versus these two Justinas. And wait a second, Pong is using the knives. Are we going to see Pong specialize in a new weapon? He's very much known for his fan and dagger play exclusively. Not that he can't play other weapons, but he definitely is he's one of the most developed in those weapon matches. We're seeing Arano in a tough position right now. Gets his gold armor switch from him. Nice kiting going to be coming down, sticking to the edge of this roof. Going to be able to pop a heal. The Justina's trying to keep on the pressure on him. Edward with the nunchucks, trying to find the closeout on him. And Fong with the max range knives right there, trying to sneak up the hit. A little bit of a cheeky roll parry from Arano, using that F to come down. Look for the hit, and now Lipo's going to be engaging with 3 minutes left alive. Two Justinas, a Shayo, and Syra left standing for this game 4 on Perdoria.
Yeah, the Syra might not be standing for long, though. You can see that Fong is still trying to apply the pressure onto Arano. The rest of the players, too, were stacking on him, wanting to try and put enough pressure onto the Syra to force out the ultimate. Then they would be able to disengage and turn back onto the Syra when she did not have that resource. Unfortunately for them, Arano was able to kite around it and keep that V1 still in play, and Lipo is actually the one who is now getting turned on to. Edward chasing down with the Phantom Step. We're going to see the fist blades interrupted before they can finish off their target. Edward with the F2 combo breaker coming into play. Arano, in the meantime, has been forced into burning out his ultimate. And now, with the stun dazzle turning onto Fong, he closes up the distance, throws out the fan R&B. Can't stay in the corruption tick too long. Does still have a combo breaker, and that's going to buy himself the space to go for a potential armor powder. But we can see that the Justina ultimates have come out into the mix since the fighting is occurring. And both of them are looking to see if they can find some cheeky dashes without you having to try and frame through the freeze connection. There's the Syra stun coming on out, and there goes Arana without that combo break setup, and we go to a free player now. We've got two Justinas, one Shaol. Lipo, still without his ultimate, was able to utilize the threat of those tortoise block counters to keep himself alive. Goes for the jump LMBs with the fist blades as he drops down from that cliffside, throwing out the RMBs to buy himself a little bit of space to climb back onto the cliffside and scale rush into his opponent's combo breaker comes into play. Not so we can escape an extension, but so that we can get damage reduction and put pressure onto Fong. He's trying to utilize the speed of the RMB to force the Justinas to betray each other, but it is not to be. Edward, the pulsar, will be able to take the Cheryl down, and it's a 1 versus 1, but Edward has a clear advantage. He's got the ultimate, he's got the uppercut, and he's got the jump horizontal in mid-air. He doesn't need the dash to be able to find the damage to do the kill.
Yeah, Edward just full pedals to the metal, gets the Spirit World buff, and runs through the lobby on that Justina, and we're seeing pretty much on each area instead of that normal just 1v1 situation. We got 225, Fong, Spider, and Azal. We're getting that nice fight that I did want to see. Azal versus Spider. Unfortunately, no armor to their name. A little bit of a light attack, but Spider going to opt to back off, look for that first armor off spawn. He is going to luck out. My man is juiced up, ready for that Realm of Yang, getting that lucky purple armor off spawn, but he has to be careful for people around him. Akos is a very good target to go after off spawn just because he doesn't really have that combo break, but he does have a huge amount of damage reduction on the F1, and Spider definitely knows how to utilize this very effectively. Now Fong and 225 going to be spacing out. We're going to make our way to the other side of the map though, versus Edward.
Yeah, Edward commits. First goes for the overhold so he doesn't get staggered. Edward has burned the combo break, now has to go for the activation of the ultimate to get a gold frame focus. Throws out the second stage of the LMB, catching Verse on the space out, and will be able to confirm the kills. We go back to see that Spider has indeed been targeted by everybody in the air. The good thing about the F1 is that the damage reduction stacks off of the amount of players hit on that knockback. The bad news for Spider now is that it's out of play. Everyone saw the purple armor, and everybody wants to take the Akos down so that they can absorb the loot from his body. Turns around, throws out the LMB. T25 now potentially gets turned on to, given the fact that he's broken out of that Justina F2. But no, everyone is not taking the eye off of the prize. Spider does not want to go for an armor swap because then he loses the purple armor, because I guarantee you, if he goes for a grey, someone breaks away with that purple and goes full disengagement mode. But Spider has been able to do enough damage to turn it on to Fong. Out comes both the Lonnie and the Akos V2. Spider not getting the opportunity to find one of those pounces. Has to be careful that he doesn't get staggered out by that Lonnie trick ball coming in through. Kites back to his original drop location. Still hasn't had the opportunity to fully reset this purple armor as he's being peppered by cannon spray coming in through and has to burn the last little bit of his ultimate. That last Tiger Pounce taking verticality to create even more distance between himself and the rest of these players. But T25 is not giving up the chase. The bow shot will connect, taking that last little bit of purple armor down. And with the Justina V1 still in play, T25 can play for keeps in this fight.
A nice job from 225. That bow shot happens to hamstring Spider, so he can't get away from the situation. He shoots and trying to max grapple. He does have 13 grapples. I don't imagine the others have as many grapples as him. They're desperately trying to chase down 225 again, trying to deny all of these grapple aways, but Spider doing a really, really good job of line of sighting, scale rushing repeatedly, conserving some of these grapples. Everyone's going to be invested. Nice parry going to come out onto Azal. Big damage is going to be coming out. Will they switch targets or will they keep going for Spider? That purple armor is just too juicy. Everyone wants a bite of it. Spider doesn't want to give up this purple armor. He refuses to armor swap, fading out, getting a nice light attack on the 225, but the 1-2 from 225 comes in. Spider fades out, gets the uppercut stagger, but gold combo break going to come out from 225. Spider still doing a good job of kiting right now, even with the nunnies, not the best at scale rushing. And Azal with the knives, able to yoink the kill away off the juggled Spider in midair. Who's going to be able to get that purple armor? It looks like Fong has it. Now it's the cursed purple armor. Everyone wants a piece of it. And look, Spider immediately salty respawn. Wait a second. A little bit. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of sodi in the system. Getting that salty respawn, getting the blue armor, and we're back. We want our armor back. I feel you, Spider.
T25 commits the RMB from the throwing knife. Spider still in the mix. Is forced out of the fight because of that Lonnie trick ball coming on through. Fong has a lot more mobility in his ultimate than was afforded to Spider with his Akos V2, as well as sustainability, which is going to go into keeping this purple armor intact. With Ram of Yang spawning on up too, he's going to be given an out to disengage from the fighters. Unfortunately for Jails AS, he's not going to be given an out. He's going to be sent the traditional way, losing all of his health bar to a multi-way fight that's going to claim WBZ's Arano too. And this is not a good time for these players to go down. Yes, they're going to be able to continue in the lobby, but unfortunately, they're not going to have the opportunity to recover and try and make a play for the first Ram of Yang. As Edward with the combo breaker does still have that Liam V2. Now gets parried. Won't you be able to pick up his weapon? Will be able to pick up the grab onto Bowder's shoe though, and gets the Soul Bloom heal off of the back of it. Another grab is attempted to go towards Xuan Yuan, but the Sarah dodges out of it with that F1. And now with that zone pushing these players, it is going to be Edward getting caught out before he can scale rush with the RMB coming on through. The grapple kick into the follow-up RMB chase down. And Edward without that combo breaker is too vulnerable. Xuan Yuan will be able to take the Liam down.
I love the fake out. Just like, whatever. I'm gonna die anyway. I want to get my second resin. Stand still and last second parries, turning it around, making it super awkward for everyone else. Nice play. Fong fading out with the focus attack. 225 using the block on the nunnies, but nice armor swap going in Fong's direction. Now the pressure going back to 225. He's gonna zip out of there, dashing left and right. No more ult charges to his name, and he has Fong with the Lonnie ult engaged, chasing him down.
You got the armor though.
Grapple?
Fong blue armor swapped in 225, grabbed the armor, immediately popped the ultimate, and just dashed out of that.
That's true. Purple armor. It seems to be there's a cursed purple armor going. Oh, this is that same purple armor.
It's the same purple armor from Spider. Yeah, it's past the parcel with purple armor.
That purple armor has many owners at this point. I don't know if I would want it at this point. That purple armor has a lot of sweat on it, and it has been cursed because no one seems to survive, even though they get that armor.
Well, the Justina ultimate, again, with mobility, and he did kite towards the realm of Yang, so I would imagine he's trying to pick himself up a realm of Yang pass to get that ultimate recharged up. Arano has already put himself into that realm of Yang. Xuan Yuan has also been able to get his hands on purple armor. I wonder if that's jabbing for the staff that he has currently equipped. Spider is going to go into a realm of Yang too, but we're going to get to see Xuan Yuan and Arano go head to head, both of them taking to the sky. Xuan Yuan trying to deny the pillar plate coming on through from Arano on the other side, charges up the scale rush, closes up the distance, has to space out of the fight though, investing that Syro F1, not confident about when the focus connection would come on through from those flying knives, goes for the focus launch, gets clanked against it, now goes for the early investment that forces the F1 coming on through from the shell. Ultimates from both of these players are still in play, and Xuan Yuan has been able to buy enough time for that Syro F1 to cycle back into the mix too. Bow shot comes on out. Arano dodges out of most of the damage, saving that blue armor, just holding on to the focus hits with those fist blades, closing up the distance. We're still seeing in the pocket play. Another shell F1 is invested, still holding on to this ultimate. We're down to under a minute left, and both of these players still having the ultimates to be able to kite this fight out just a little bit longer. There's the shell ultimate, there's the Syro ultimate looking for the chase down. Can he find a stun dazzle? The rolls are coming into the mix around and round the pillar. Arano goes. Xuan Yuan hasn't been able to find the opening that he's looking for. It's not going to be that because the Sheol gets the stagger into the block throw, and Xuan Yuan is about to be out of his ultimate, but just before it times out, he gets a stun dazzle onto the Sheol, leading to another stagger. Dodges with the double jump out of the next tortoise block, goes for the pillar, make sure that Arano doesn't get a heal reset opportunity. If he gets to utilize a combo breaker, he's going to get a little bit of a heal off situation going as well. Into the uppercut, but the Syro's got the F1 up into the air, into the bow swap, and with that vantage point, Xuan Yuan will be able to finally win the fight against Arano.
Again, we see Xuan Yuan close out a fight with the combo break into the jumping range attack. The same thing happened in the Clutcher versus Azal game 1 on the Temi. Players are going to have to start taking note of this and dodging out the second that gold F comes out, especially in these 1 HP situations. There's definitely a vulnerability he has there if you spot out this tell, but nice shot coming out from Xuan Yuan. He looks automatic in those clutch situations, getting that nice chip to close it out. Very, very close fight between those two. Nice pillar play with the Shio chokes through the pillar. Very, very sneaky with all the attacks, and unlike other rounds, everyone survives their off spawn. We're getting a full stacked game 5. I always like to call this like championship rounds. Everyone's warmed up. This is a clutch round of the match, especially for these players who are on that cusp. Looking at the leaderboard, top 12 is going to make it to that third bi-weekly finals. The Chuz at 2 kills on the Shio needs to get over this threshold. Now, he needs to be a little bit more confident. He needs 2 really, really solid games, somewhere in that mid-20s. That's going to be very comfortable for you. But anywhere on that edge, it's very easy to get past on that day 3 because everyone has 6 more games to play. But still, we have a chance as long as we keep trucking along. Arano at 11.5, almost at the cusp as well at 14 kills. Being the threshold, we are going to get Spider on the Echo, sending the 1-2-3. Azal's ready, but reacts to it, gets that nice parry. But Spider going to go with the overload again. 1.5 release. Tricky Spider letting Azal know you cannot just pressure me with chip attacks. I will release into you if you get too close. You're going to exchange armor swaps. Nice dodge from Azal, denying the F1. of Spider. Really clean stuff and cutting edge technique coming out from both of these players.
Yeah, but it's not a realm of Yang 1 versus 1. It's a multi-way out in the open world, and you know, everything goes. Yang depletion is up and soul blooms are up for grabs if you can drop a player. And both Spider and Azure are saddled with the debuff currently. We're going to see a lot of players as well kiting around the base of Ballista Tower. Realm of Yang, tantalizingly close, but out in that open, definitely a target if a player does position themselves up onto that hot seat to be able to keep up the range pressure. Arano looks to try and barrel on through DRG's Fong, but he is so low in terms of that sustainability with the blue armor. He's very vulnerable, has to drop down and try and put himself close enough to this absolute brawl that's occurring on the low ground. Spider, I think, was able to grab a bloom. He has to be careful that he doesn't get CC locked by the Shaols in this area. Remember, there are 3 of them in this lobby currently, and he is out of there, just trying to escape the situation, break the ankles, cut the noise, and hope that there's enough attention left at the base of Ballista Tower that he will be able to escape unscathed. Unfortunately for Ajay, 40 seconds left. The Shell has not had the opportunity to pick up a Soul Bloom, and he is the lowest health player with the least amount of resources in this fight. Everyone is turning on to him, and that is him sent out of this lobby. With those 2 eliminations picked up and those 2 players, both with Yang depletion, having been able to either cleanse or go out of the lobby, the matter has been resolved regardless of which way it fell. That should mean an end to the fighting, especially since the tension now turns to the second realm of Yang.
Matter has ended indeed, Moxie. Now, Shenyuan, we've seen him in the realm of Yang over and over, but everyone is on this tower looking for this kill onto Arano. He's done a good job of icing off this pressure using the flying knives. Now, he gets a little bit of movement error, a little bit of caster curse here, gets stuck for a second. But we are going to go to the realm of Yang. Shenyuan versus Star. Shenyuan going to the high ropes, looking for the bow shot, switching immediately to his weapon, fakes the bow shot this time, drops down with a focus attack, ends up sending it, but Star's ready for the parry, gets a nice RB, steals away that gold spear from Shenyuan. Wait a second, back to back, wait, triple, wait, quadruple, 5, what? We're just eating jumping LMBs for breakfast right now. Shenyuan just gets destroyed on the pillar by the non-stop jumping LMBs of Star.
Really salty breakfast, given the fact that that was your own legendary spear that you ate all of the jumping LMBs from. His TV5 with the cursed purple armor does have that Lani ultimate to contend with. The F2 is going to come out, the knockback allowing for the spacing for the activation of the Justina V1, and we do find one dash. We don't much connect the second, but we have enough pressure to be able to come on through with the 1-2 light attacks from the fan, and TV5 will be able to find himself a Realm of Yang win and pick himself up a White Tiger's Prowess buff. A lot of these other players now are going to have to be contending with the Yang depletion situation that is going to force everyone into overdrive of aggression. You're either hiding from the players with buff, hiding from the players who have depletion who are going to be trying to force to take a fight. You've got a buff and you're wanting to take a fight because you're super scaled up, or you've got Yang depletion and you're going to have to take a buff or a fight rather, no matter what situation you find yourselves currently in. So these next couple of moments are going to be action-packed for sure.
We're seeing that Justina is super stacked again. A round 5 and 6 pick going into this end game, looking super dominant again.
Well, Star is not a hide-and-seek champion of 2025. There were 2 players that were both just nestled inside Invis bushes, right where he was kiting to, and he doesn't clear it, and just about turns. Xuan Yuan is hot on the heels, though, of someone. A little bit of a misconnection of one of the grapples does mean that Verse is going to get a little bit further ahead of him. However, Xuan Yuan, it looks like, doesn't want to take the fight currently against WBG's Verse. There are better targets in the lobby for him to turn onto. That or potentially they're wanting, they wanted to take a fight a little bit further away from one of the points of interest. Red flash comes on through as they were banning to signal that we're ready to start this fight. Unfortunately for them, Hyodi's Fong is actually in the area and has spotted the commotion, is looking for the third-party engagement. No fair 1 versus 1 here, no siree. They have to contend with that dagger LMB entrance coming on through. And Verstein, all of his armor having to try and turn in, take advantage of Fong intruding into this fight, forcing the combo breaker from Zhuan Yuan. The Sir has actually had that ultimate force, and Fong now happy that he's been able to burn those resources, disengages from the fight, allowing it potentially to play out. But now Versus at such a huge advantage with his ultimate still in play.
Genuine forced to pop the ultimate. Now in a tough situation with everyone seeing his desperation. Probably the Yang Depletions player. He still has a little bit of armor left with the overhold. Verse on the outside. Not wanting to take the risk here. And Fong just being that fly, that just mosquito that's always looking at third party. Just a nice wall timing coming out for him. Showing up in 2025, still doing work. Jumping LMBs, chipping away at Genuine. And Fong is able to pick up that kill. Rising up to 4th place at 29.5. Nice job from Fong to spot out these two dueling off on the edge and taking advantage of it. And now as the dust settles, we have one of the bigger end games we've seen today, Moxie. 9 players still alive. Spider again using the knives. Like he's been using the knives all day today. More than I would say any other player we've seen today. Purple knives as well in his endgame. And Star immediately just being so aggro onto Spider. And then 225 taking advantage of the two Justinas, taking advantage of the solo Akos. Wait a second. F1 into RMB on the floor, into the follow RMB. New technology with the Akos F. Not really possible with other weapons to do that. Normally when people are on Akos, they go with F into range attack. So extra chip damage going towards Akos with flying knives. Nice tiger going to come out. AS, get off of me. Spider doing a good job of creating some space for himself, but Star staying on top of him with the double charge, setting him for a ride right now. His ult is going to be out. Justina ult's going to get invested. He's trying to make his way away from here, going back and forth, out in 110, through another, smoothing, cutting noise for a second, gonna be able to pop a heal right now. 225 and Star end up taking a ton of damage right here, and nice kiting path from Spider, quickly able to disengage out of there and get a couple heals off.
Yeah, and cycle back into his next F1 connection too. Unfortunately for him, all of the heals that he got are disregarded by that massive thump of damage coming on through from the Pulse of first stage RMB. And that is going to be Spider sent out of this lobby. Star now going to be taking a moment to go for a little bit of armor powder. Fong also going to have to make sure that he is having a disengagement option because he's down all of his armor. Actually takes his chances against Moonbane. Is he going to be merciless? Nope. There is no mercy from the RNG. Fong has been able to build into that V2 and he will utilize that trick ball to be able to dash his way over towards picking on up that little bit of armor reset coming on through. And TU5 now is going to be chasing him down LMB into jump horizontal into RMB. Fong with his staple blue dagger. No matter what rarity, he will always have a dagger and a fan in the back pocket. TU5 can't stick in that fight too long. He has to make sure that his attention does not get swayed away from what actually matters in endgame, which is control of this Spirit Well. Star with the blustering edge is going to be making it incredibly difficult for a lot of those players to hold that position. And off of the back of that, actually is going to be able to confirm the pickup burst. Now potentially going to get taken down. Has to drop the armor for a gray reset. Picked up from the 10. Merciless Havoc is going to be interrupted. FX Star utilizing the combo breaker to break away from that massive hit of CC, giving himself a little bit of time. He's also got the White Tiger's prowess buff, so a lot of these players not really going to want to contest him. As you can see, just a little bit of a tap coming on from the LMP of that dagger, making sure that TU5 doesn't stay too close in case the Justina decides to twist the knife into the back.
Star and 225, both very, very good Justina players, and 225's having a slow day, and I was saying before, Moxie, this is usually the situations that we see 225 snowball crazily, but he does have to deal with the Liam of Edwards, and Edwards, one of his best characters, very, very explosive on Liam, able to pick his spots correctly. 225 playing with fire, going through the Moonbane. We've seen the Moonbane one-shot Frostivus with a little bit of 4-piece. Gold armor, I don't know. I don't feel safe anymore with gold armor going through a Moonbane. Now everyone just piles in on the opposite end. Lipo in the center of two Justinas right now. Burns his gold F. Tries to go for the armor swap, not able to. Star's going to find the 1-2, goes for the 3, ends up getting grabbed from Lipo, and immediately Lipo just vaporized by the lobby. Everyone just switches sides. Doesn't really matter. The fight goes down, and we're down to 6 players. And again, kiting across Fong, doing his best to try to ice off this pressure on the Lonnie. Doesn't want to get put in the middle of the two Justinas, and Chuz is going to get hit by the Moonbane and put into a last hit point situation. Can he get away? No, he cannot. Star with that white tiger bus keeps up the pressure, picking up another kill, going up to 3 kills now. AS has 3, Edwards has 3. MVP is still up for still up for grabs with the 4 minutes left in this round.
Yeah, always Edward playing very, very quietly on the opposite area to everybody else. Fong absolutely stacked out in terms of staff soldiers, even though it's only blue rarity. He's got stanchion as well as Merciless Havoc with all of the distance that is going to be able to cleave and buy up for him. No one wanting to get close enough, or potentially they try and close up the distance and go for the parry before it can hit the gold frame focus, which is one of the ways that you deal with Merciless Havoc. You either parry it out before it hits the gold frame, or you give it a very large berth and the respect that it deserves as a Soul Jade of Destiny. Looks like everyone has chosen to opt for the former, not wanting to be too close to that Justina, because if you're close enough to parry a Merciless Havoc, you're probably close enough for that Justina to be able to freeze dash directly on top of you. Whereas Edward has gone from hiding on the other sides of the zone to hiding at the top of a tree. He is currently on 3 eliminations, sharing the kills for a lot of these other players in potential MVP positions. He does not want to get spotted on out before we head into that heal-off situation, as Liam is such a valuable target for everybody to turn on to, especially since we still have 3 Justinas in the mix, Raven. This is very much a game of hide and seek between the Liams and the Lonnies, and the Justinas are the ones currently running the show, unless DRG's Fong with this Lonnie V2 can get one of them low enough to entice them into turning onto each other. Fong with that legendary armor is going to be looking like a very enticing prospect to take down and absorb that vein of sustainability as well. But always Edward has been spotted on out. He's climbing now to the other side of this tree. JL's AS could potentially look up and see him squirreled away on up there. But no, this Liam has rolled a critical pass on his stealth check, and everyone turns on to Fong instead. There it is. Merciless Havoc parried before it can hit the golden frame focus, and Fong now denied his main spacing tool, has to pull out the dagger and kite to disengage instead.
And Fong has been doing a really good job kiting the triple Justina in this endgame. He does invest his Lonnie ult early to keep a ton of his armor up. The name of the game here is don't get low, because if you do get low, you are going to be going out. The lobby picks apart anyone bleeding a little bit too much. Edward, like you were saying before, Moxie, using the squirrel technique. I haven't seen it in a while, that a tree being very reliable, hiding away from everyone. He's able to get to this situation. Now we have a very, very, clustered and claustrophobic situation with the fence and a tent and a couple of trees. There's not a lot of places to go now, but a lot of movement choices. Star gets knocked into the zone, and now AS sitting on the outside with the knives, those purple knives sitting right on the corner, going to set up that double charge, ends up shredding Fong for a ton of damage, and again, back-to-back double charges. Now Fong in a tough situation, forced to pop his ultimate, looking for some heals from this, sends to the sky, trying to make his way to the other side, trying to sneak a heal off, then teleports back. Tricky, but he's going to go right next to Star, who is popping that tuna, ends up taking the sky again, going to drop through the 10, see if he can get a heal off right now. Justina is going to drop down, knocking him off that grab, and 225 is going to look for this kill. One more ball to his name. Edward's going to use that gold up and sneak the pistol shot in, taking down Fong.
Edward goes up to 4 eliminations. He's on the inside of this tent too. Anyone who tries to run in is at risk of the fan RMB. 225 takes a little bit of time to go for the proc of the tuna before we go to the very, very top of the tent. Everybody knows that Edward is eventually going to be forced to go out of it, or potentially we could see a drop-in situation with the focus attacks. We talked about knives being able to track verticality, and it applies upwards but also downwards too. Edward goes for the Liam V2, gets caught out by one of the freeze dashes from that Justina V1, but finds the grab onto FX to start into the zone. He throws them into the fan RMB. He commits. He doesn't get to confirm the second grab follow through though, because the dash comes on through, griefing from T225, who with his F2 will be able to preserve himself away from damage brought on by players and allows that tuna to continue ticking that health bar. Edward with the kills walks away the MVP, but T225 playing the long game has been able to bag himself a tasty amount of ranking points too.
Yeah, a nice amount of composure coming out from the side. I never liked this landing location, the weird cliffside, but we are going to get Spider versus AS.
Spider has been able to get blue staff, hasn't been able to find grey armor in any of the throws that he's often though. He is trying to slide and slip through as many buildings as possible to pick some of that loot up. Both of them looking for the parry at the same time. Means that we go right back into a neutral fight. Looks for the overhaul, doesn't commit. Kylan forces out the combo breaker. Spider goes for the overhold of the focus to avoid the light attack. Stagger coming through from the scale rush, but AS with the chip will be able to find the damage with the honk sword and take Spider down, but Bowder's shoot rolls on up to the mix, and now he's had an opportunity to loot up better. He's got blue armor and a blue weapon. AS has to kite, disengage until combo breaker comes into play. One of the advantages for AS though is the fact that he wasn't a fight. He's got his ultimate, but Shu took a little bit of time because he took a detour to grab some of those fireflies, and the Lani's got the VT ready to go as well. Both of these players at an even stalemate as always Edward rolls up for a potential third party.
Juz has his ultimate, but AS has been on top of these attacks over and over, just immediately light attacking, getting nice stackers, but they both have to worry now. Both of them no armor to their name, and Edward is lurking on the outside. He's going to choose to chase down Baldas. Chuz making around the corner, trying to pop the heal. He does greed out for it and gets it, but he does get uppercutted, looking for a cheeky R&B reset with the flying knives. I see you, Edward. See what we're working with, but the ult from Chuz is going to ice off this pressure. He's going to make his way back to the cliffside, see if he can replenish his ultimate, finding any of the leftover fireflies, and it looks like JL's AS slowly working his way over there. Does have ultimate to his name, wondering if they did commit to the fight. Can he get a free cleanup? Maybe not. We are going to move over to the other Firefly location of the map, where Arano, Verse, and Star are duking it out.
Max distance fan R&B commitment finds its way past the parry opportunity from WBG's first. Temi ultimate is invested as well. Is anyone going to get caught out by the reversed coming on through? Star is playing right in the center of it, overholds the blue so he doesn't get wisp stunned. Arano stays in flop state as long as he possibly can, but he's still going to get tech chase. Huge double parry, managing to find the focus attacks coming through from both Star and Verse on either side of him, but it is not enough. His health was at such a deficit when that fight began. Star looks for the uppercut into grapple kick, does not manage to time the grapple kick extension, so Verse will be able to slip away from the combo. And now Fist Blades versus Fly flying knife. Star this time is going to be able to use his ultimate activation to dodge out of the uppercut that the Hallies were looking to set up into a grapple kick R&B follow through. And we go on to Cliffside. We go into Scale Rush. Star gets to break out the claws and start swiping. The first Tiger Pounce is going to be able to find its connection onto the Liam. The claw swipes afterwards will not, but the Scale Rush might be able to into the F2 roll. But Star has nothing in the pocket to dodge out of the V2 grab into the R&B halberds. Jump L&B tracking down Star as well when he's in that flop state, and Verse will be able to claim the win.
Verse up to 3 kills, moving it up to second place. First overall for the day at 34.6. JL's AS, though, has his ult activated V1 onto Edward, not getting him the 3-piece. Chuz on the background, able to get a nice ball off and a little bit of stagger, trying to steal this kill away. But he has both these kills possible. But JL's AS able to get that half-charge R&B, sneak in, steal the kill away. Lots of dodging coming out from Chuz, but AS unfazed by the nice accurate focus attack. Gonna slow down all of that fanciness. Now Chuz with the Scale Rush ends up backing off right here, making his way to the cliffside. Counter grapple is gonna be coming out. JL's AS with the advantage, but nice shot from Chuz to ice off a ton of this pressure, getting away, but the grappling stack was going to come out. The blue armor reset. Wait a second, I thought AS picked it up, but about as Chuz with those fast hands, able to steal back-to-back armors right now. AS having to go through so many armors right now, and then getting deep fried on his cross, returning the favor, and out of nowhere, another target coming out. Parry's going to be coming out. Edward on the backside, but AS wants his kill on the Chuz. Now, unfortunately for him, Chuz was able to get max grapple distance, so AS is going to switch targets right now, looking to keep on the pressure onto Edward. Nice follow-up coming out. Big bow shots coming out, but Edward with the cannon looking for the shot. AS is all in, looks for the bow shot at range, but it's not going to matter. Edward immediately closes his distance with the flying knives and takes him down, and now Chuz versus Edward going at it. Big parry's going down for Edward. Chuz trying to wake up, trying to get away from the situation. Now stuck in the zone. Tons of pressure come out, but still unfazed from it. Is going to get that parry with that nice big parry damage. Edward, as a tiger, though, keeping up the pressure. Akos going on the board, and Edward up to 2 kills, climbing up the leaderboard.
Yeah, but Edward having to burn that ultimate and now not in a position to vie for a Realm of Yang Portal Pass, won't have the ease of access to that ultimate. He's going to have to build it up the traditional way. Verse does have the Portal Pass, but not for long. He's forced out of the zone by both Spider and TW5. Spider having to slip away because of that purple armor going lower and lower. Verse committing the fan R&B as well, turning it onto TW5, who also slips away from the fight far enough away that Verse might be able to just grab up that pass. But for easies, no, Spider still was able to hold on to it. Just burned that Cheryl F1 and then took himself up onto the sky with the cliffside, letting him set up these scare rushes back to back with this blue fan so that he doesn't get punished for not having that utility available to him. Everyone now going to have to make a play to be close enough to the portal that they don't get grooved out of engaging into it. Spider more than happy to play Gatekeeper currently. TW5 forced into burning the F2, gonna cancel it early so that Spider doesn't get a prediction punishment. And with the Justina forced away, Spider is free to take himself into the realm of Yang. Are we going to see it? No. Spider versus always Edward. Asia versus WBG's Verse.
That's not that bad. Verse versus Astro is going to be a very cool fight. Verse actually one of the best duelers in the league as well, and actually more passive than Azo. Verse likes to play very, very slow, and this was wondering how Azo picks apart this playstyle. He's able to weave through the light attacks of the fan off Clank. Nice from Azo. Fades out. Goes with a double charge cancel, but Verse just chipping away right now, just keeping up the pressure. Azo's gonna have to pop his ult sooner or later. He's gonna dive in, get that ult up, dodges the actual ball, and keeping up the pressure. Ooh! Double charge is going to be coming out. A little bit of a misstep, though, because Verse's second shot was able to come out, and he is going to be able to close it out. A little bit of an overcommitment from Azel. I see the vision. Unfortunately, Verse is able to come out on top.
Zhuan Yuan, once again, Realm of Yang, once again on Temi. Still holds on to that V3 too. Kylan's also still holding on to his ultimate. Fong gets sent into the LMV uppercut, into the dagger break. And now the Kylan ultimate has come into play. Out comes the Temi V3. This is Kylan V2. The after effect and the dash is going to be somewhat nullified by the wind walls, just shutting down so much of the space for this Kylan to be able to play around with. Zhuan Yuan with the cannon as well, stopping Fong from being able to find a recent opportunity behind that pillar. But the Kylan ultimate is outlasting the Temi until Zhuan Yuan with the drop down parry into the soul break. Continued pressure forcing Fong back closer towards that pillar, into the cannon. He swaps to the pistol to make you think that you have the time to space out backwards into the pillar to get a heal. And then there it is, the mind games, the juke, the double back over to cannon to punish the second that you think you have that space to go for a heal.
FBX's Star on the ankles and the Pulsar chopping away at Azal. Double charge is going to be coming out from the dual Halbies, but the combo break from Star is going to minimize a lot of the damage now, forcing Azal into zone. Gets 2 pistol shots, and now Azal in a tough position right now. No armor and barely any health to his name. He is going to opt to not look for an armor assault. Tries to pop off 2 heals, but Star is going to come back. He does miss the Tiger. Nice job from Azal to iframe that situation, and Chuz does not care to really go after the other Lonnie. Instead is going to be chain going for Star. Knows that Akos has no ult up right now, but Star making his way out of there, trying to scale rush over and over, but for his trouble, not able to get him against the wall. And now Chuz is gonna find the uppercut into ultimate, but Star does a good job of using the range, rolling away. It's not gonna matter. The pressure from Chuz is absolutely gonna decimate it, and now Azal gonna be turning that aggression onto him. He does have Yang depletion.
Yeah, and he doesn't have a soul bloom that the Akos can drop because Chuz took it. So now it is Lani, every single Lani for herself. Chuz without his ultimate. Asia is still holding onto his, getting a little bit too close to that next Realm of Yang entrance. Chuz intentionally kiting the fight over that in the hopes that someone would be able to turn on to Azhar and get the Lani off of him. Spider on the back foot goes down. Lipa with the bow shot takes him down, but he's still going to continue in this lobby. He had Vermilion Birds Might. Azhar now gets caught out on the wrong side of a Temi V3, and there's the infinite re-wisp. And unfortunately, he's going to go down. Zhuan Yuan of the RMB off of those fist blades will be able to have the speed to claim the kill. Spider ran it back. He just died in this fight. There's a soul altar literally about 10 meters away from where his Ken dropped. And he is more than content coming back to make a play and try and get an elimination off of the fight that's currently still going off. Understanding that the Temi is going to be down that V3 though. Zhuan Yuan is going to be getting that V3 very, very quickly once more with all of the soul booms that he's picked up. 1, 2, 3. We send those, we commit with those fist blades. And Spider now down all of his armor, might be regretting the speed of run back that he came into this fight with.
A Spider with the gold knives. No free Realm of Yang. So many people here, and this is a tough part for Shayo. In the shield animation, she ends up getting grabbed up, and now Chuz with another kill, climbing up the leaderboard, up to 3 kills on his Lonnie picked. And unfortunately for Spider, even though he was very, very sacked, that's a tough part of the Shayo. She is hard countered by the V2 Liams. Anytime she actually throws that choke out, she can still actually get scooped up and thrown into the ball. Now Chuz on Alani up to 82% for his ultimate, trying to keep the pressure onto Fong. But Fong, one of the best to do it as far as running away. The R&B is going to come out, trapping Fong on exit, earning the combo break right now. Now Fong down to a 1 HP situation. All these flying knives are just doing too much damage to him, and jumping LMB is going to come out. Chuz wants to kill, but 225 is going to snipe him out of the air.
Yeah, Zhuan Yuan, in the meantime, res at the same slaughter that Spider took and probably puts himself into a realm of Yang. Shaz, I don't think is going to get the opportunity to go anywhere near that spacing. As T25 is trying to turn onto this Lonnie, but Shaz with that V2 and the movement that it provides, being able to teleport over to the distance that you threw out that dash ball, is potentially going to be able to escape. Juan Yuan now versus Verse. Juan Yuan once again trying to force Verse to distancing out of that fight before swapping into the pistol. Verse is going to think that it's a pistol in play for the range, not the cannon that we know that Juan Yuan is holding, and trying to bait Verse into taking advantage of. He's down a lot of his armor. He loses actually all of it off of that cannon shot coming through from the other side of the pillar. And again comes the pistol trying to chip away some of that armor. Has to invest the F1 as well as the ultimate. He's looking for the wisp. Verse doing a very good job of utilizing the lunges from that staff to keep himself in focus mode so that he does not get CC'd out until the Temi ultimate is done. And now he can apply that same level of pressure. But Juan Yuan knew when he went behind the pillar, this would swap to the cannon. Therefore, he can full send the focus hit. Understand that he doesn't have to worry about getting parried. He does have to worry about the Liam V2 that Verse is still holding on to. Temi's got his F1 back. He will be able to avoid falling to the ground and eating the consequential damage of that Liam V2 connection. And now becomes a matter of kiting. But unfortunately for him, he gets clipped before he's stuck on the side of that pillar into the next iteration of V2 grab, and Juan Yuan goes down. The Liam triumphs over the Temi inside the realm of Yang.
This game is going by very fast, already down to 6 players, 1 person in Seoul. We are going to get AS versus 225 on the outside. Tiger Buff is on AS, so 225 trying to ice off this pressure, trying to use that dagger, drops down quickly. AS with the same technique, trying to catch up. 1, 2, staying on right on top of 225, but 225 is going to release into his face. Wait a minute, get off of me, AS. You don't want this right now. Fades back, goes to another 1-2, ends up going for the parry. AS doesn't bite. Now Justina ult is going to be invested. AS still does not care. We got White Tiger's buff. We're chasing you down. Going up the cliff side, 225, making a ton of space. But on the other side, we got Shen Yuan versus Verse with Dragon Roar.
Yeah, Dragon's Roar coming out yet again. Verse holds that focus so that he doesn't get whisked. Yet again, Juan Yuan not able to find the opening he was looking for with that Temi V3. Everyone remembers the pressure that the Temi's put this lobby into. No one is going to let Juan Yuan free from the focus, but another Temi ultimate comes down. Juan Yuan gets a re-wisp opportunity. Everybody thought that it was safe to turn on to the Temi, but no, the Temis will be able to peel, and Juan Yuan finds the re-wisp opportunity, but still not the Soul Bloom. He's got 3 minutes 47 seconds to be able to drop another body and pick up a bloom, and he's gonna look to do it against JL's AS.
Does need to get this kill. 3 minutes 30 seconds. Has the purple dual halbies, but still the gold knives on Arano. Will Arano kind of try to pick a spot here, or are they going to back off? The White Tiger's buff makes it very hard to finish off someone with sustain, and we got AS and Verse traveling down. Now, this wide open area really sets you up for a Temi ult infinite, and Verse smells the trap, ends up backing up to the safety of the cliffside, and AS on the outside. Now AS does not care. My man's already in. Double headshot onto Arano. No armor to his name already. Drop down from Shen Yuan, but AS with the gold knives and Kylan wants to get active, wants to get one of these Temis those at least, but is it worth it? The Dragon Roar is going to be coming out, and Arano is going to get a flank, and out of nowhere, one of the Temis is going to go down, and the Temi alliance has been softened.
Yeah, Juan Yuan too, not able to get the Soul Bloom from the other Temi. It's So even though they were able to get one Temmie out of the mix, they might not have to worry about the second one. Another drop down. This time TDD5 comes on through with the meter on blue nunchucks, and Xuan Yuan caught in the crossfire between every single player who, like I talked about, remembered and prevented the Temmie alliance from forming the way we saw it in match number 1. And in a blink of an eye, we're down to 3 players, and I don't think we're going to a healer situation. TDD5 caught right next to AS coming through with this Kylan V1, forced to utilize that Justina F2 inside that corruption tick damage. Is going to have to try and get past, but no, AS gets to commit the RMB from the throwing knives. Verse was waiting for his opportunity, lying in wait on the sidelines, gets the Kylan caught up in the Liam V2, and with a little hit, a little tap from the nunchucks, he's going to be able to do the damage necessary to finish off the fight. And Raven, that was such a huge anticlimax. We were posturing it up. We were thinking for sure there's going to be a double Temmie Spirit Well. Spirit Well didn't even get to come into play. The Temmies were such a problem that everyone in the lobby knew that they had to go before it could even occur.
You don't want that nightmare situation off of game 1. That was an absolute nightmare with the double Temmie and just wisping everyone to death. Now,